Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto is neglected by the family metal arm harem. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by ZenoNoKyuubi and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. October 10th. Naruto's birthday. Oh how he hated that day. 7 years ago, Namikaze Minato, Yondaime Hokage, sealed the great demon Lord Kyuubi into Naruto's stomach. Minato wished for Naruto to be treated like a hero, but the villagers didn't obey. They glared at him, called him hateful words, beat him and sold him rotten food for double or triple the price. The beatings were worse on his birthday, the Kyuubi festival. Right now a bunch of villagers, civilians and shinobi, had broken down his door and gave him a savage beating. Hey guys. This little demon wants to become a ninja. One of the shinobi said, a woman with ruby red eyes who obviously had been drinking quite a bit, judging by the smell, said and pulled out a kunai. How about we eliminate his chance of that huh? She asked getting nods and wicked smiles from the others. They held onto Naruto's arms and legs and held him down. The woman, Kurenai, crouched down. This is for my parents. She thought before making a quick slash across his left eye. Naruto screamed in agony. She moved from his left eye to his right leg. Naruto watched in horror as she proceeded to saw his leg off at the knee. The procedure was agonizing. She made sure to make every movement of the knife as painful as possible. After she was done with the right leg she moved on to the left. After that, his left arm at the elbow. Inside its cage the Kyuubi squirmed. This is bad. I can heal cuts and stabs but not eyes or severed limbs. He thought. During the 7 years of imprisonment it had come to respect the kid. Living through all those beatings without breaking. Just when she was about to saw off his right arm a guy at the door shouted a warning. The Hokage is coming. Let's get out of here. He shouted making everyone at the apartment either run out the door or shunshin away, leaving Naruto in a bloody heap on the floor. The Hokage came into Naruto's living room with a full Anbu squad behind him. He saw the boy he fell to his knees and cried. Naruto. He sobbed and crawled towards the boy. He picked him up and turned to the Anbu. Find the ones who did this. The chorus of "Hi" came from the Anbu before they shunshined away. The Hokage took Naruto to the hospital to a doctor who didn't hate him. Naruto saw the mutilated boy and immediately rushed him to the emergency room. After 15 long minutes she came out with a sad look on her face. How is he? The Hokage asked. His eye is beyond repair and so is his arm and leg as you've probably guessed. He suffered from stab wound on his upper body but those were not fatal. He is in a coma right now. She said quietly making the Hokage's eyes widen. You can go see him if you'd like. Sarutobi walked into Naruto's room and cried the moment he saw the boy. It would have been a beautiful sight seeing the boy sleeping peacefully if it wasn't for the severed limbs. Sarutobi walked up to the small child and placed a hand on his forehead. I'll find a way to make it better. I'll help you. He said before leaving. A week passed without Naruto waking up. The Hokage could be seen looking through scrolls in his office, the library and the hospital. He was heartbroken. Becoming a ninja, and later Hokage, was his entire life. It was, to him, his only way of getting the villagers to acknowledge him. How the hell was Sarutobi supposed to be able to fix the boy's arm and legs? He lifted a scroll and under it he found an open bingo book. Name. Akasuna no Sasori. Age. NA. Rank. S. Bloodline. None. Crimes. Wanted for defecting from Suna and violating Suna's laws by making human puppets. That was as much as Sarutobi read before jumping out of his chair while grabbing an empty scroll. He started writing frantically before rolling it up and calling for a Chunin. At this to Suna as fast as possible. He told the Chunin who nodded and poofed away. I just hope she isn't still angry with Konoha. He muttered before sitting down, lighting his pipe. Meanwhile Kurenai was in trouble. She was having an inner battle with herself. That demon deserved what he got. She thought with a nod. How do you know he's a demon? Said a voice in her head that sounded like a wizened elder. He is. Look at those whisker marks. No human could just get whisker marks like that. She thought back. Really? They could be something from his clan or just birthmarks or a sign of him being the Jinchuriki for the Kyuubi. Look at the Hyugas. Are they demons because their eyes aren't like ours? The voice asked making Kurenai contemplate its words carefully while thinking of a comeback. He is a demon. There is no information of who his parents are or anything. He just showed up on the same day that the Kyuubi was killed. Maybe his parents had a reputation. Maybe they had to protect him from assassins. Do you have so little faith in the Sandaime and Yondaime? No. Yondaime-sama is our hero. And yet you doubt his skills. What? No, I don't. Then why do you call the child he wanted to be called a hero a demon? Unable to think of a response she just went to bed. You know that I'm right. The voice said right before she fell asleep. At night she had the worst nightmare in her entire life. She dreamt that it was her lying on the ground having her arm and legs cut off by him, and when they were done the dream started all over again. That happened every night until she was too afraid to go to sleep. A week later Sarutobi was sitting in his office when a Chunin poofed in. "Okage-sama. There is an old lady from Suna at the gates," he said, and Sarutobi nodded before poofing away. He poofed into existence at the gates where an old lady from Suna who goes by the name of Chio, or Chio-sama, was waiting. "This better be good, Sarutobi-kun," Chio told the Hokage. "What was so important that you couldn't tell me in the letter?" Sarutobi sighed. "I need you to come see this," he said, and led her to the hospital, or more precisely, Naruto's room. "Look at him," Sarutobi said and pointed at Naruto. "This is the Jinchuriki for the Kyuubi no Kitsune. He was brutally attacked 2 weeks ago and lost his left arm and both legs. The only thing in his life that kept his hopes of acknowledgement from the villagers up was being a ninja and later Hokage. Those dreams were crushed by a mob of drunken villagers on his birthday. I beg of you. Please put aside your grudge against Konoha and help this boy." He asked and got down on his hands and knees, surprising Chio. She thought for a moment. "I'll think about it," she said and walked out of the room, leaving a slightly smiling Sandame. If tea was one thing he learned through all his years of friendship with Chio, it was that whenever she said "I'll think about it," she usually meant yes. The next day Kurenai was sitting in the dango shop with her best friend Anko. "You look terrible, Kurenai," Anko said while munching on her dango stick. "Yeah, well, I haven't gotten much sleep lately," Kurenai admitted, making Anko raise an eyebrow. "Oh really? How come?" "That demon is haunting me in my dreams," Kurenai said, making Anko growl in anger. "Demon? What demon? You don't mean the Kyuubi container, do you?" she asked, and Kurenai nodded, thinking the growl of anger was a growl of hatred towards the demon. "Yes, him. I don't know what he did to me, but I can no longer sleep without having a nightmare," was all she managed to say before getting a hard slap in the face by Anko. "Anko. What? I never thought you were as shallow as the villagers, Kurenai. But I guess I was wrong. What about me? Do consider me a traitorous snake bitch. Don't judge someone without getting to know them first," Anko shouted at Kurenai, who just sat there, holding the red mark on her cheek. "I can no longer consider you a friend, Kurenai. You can come see me when you have come to your senses," she said and walked away. Inside Naruto's mind. Naruto was not having a good time. He was, just like Kurenai, reliving the same thing over and over and over again. Every second was the most painful he'd ever felt. All of a sudden everything froze and his surroundings started to look like a wet painting. The paint started dripping down on the ground, revealing a yellowish wall behind it. His arm and legs also grew back. When all the paint on the walls was gone, the paint on the ground reached his ankles. The paint dissipated to reveal plain water. In front of him was a huge gate. In the middle of the gate was a piece of paper with a kanji for seal on it. "Finally. I thought I'd never get through to you," said a deep rumbling voice from behind the bars. Naruto looked up and saw the face of a huge red fox with 9 swirling tails. "Who are you?" he asked with fear evident in his voice. "I am the king of all demons. The strongest of the Bijuu. I am the great Kyuubi no Kitsune," the fox shouted with pride evident in its voice. "Hey Kyuubi. But you're dead. The Yondaime killed you." "Ha. Like a puny mortal would be able to kill me. No kid. He didn't kill me. He sealed me inside you," Kyuubi said, making Naruto eyes widen. Me? Why would he do that? Why me?" he asked with tears in his eyes. Now people. You might say that Naruto would go on a rant about being a demon, but think of it this way. If you was told that you were the container of a demon by the demon in front of the demon, would you think that you were a demon? I don't know. I needed to be sealed into a newborn whose chakra coils hadn't developed yet. Maybe you were the only one born that day. Maybe you're his son. Maybe you're his grandson. How should I know? Kyuubi said with a shrug. Wait. How did my arm and legs grow back? Naruto asked. This is your mind, kid. Your physical body was damaged but not your mind. That's why you have your limbs back. So they're not really back. No. I'm sorry for putting you through this, kid. What the villagers are doing to you is vile, even for me. Not even demons treat their own kin like that unless it's a fight for your position and power. But I'm going to help you. As soon as I find a way to make up for what you have suffered through, I will help you. Kyuubi said, making Naruto smile. Domo arigato Kyuubi-san, Naruto said with a bow. Now since our minds have gotten this close to each other, I am able to establish a link between us so we can talk to each other when you get out of your coma. I need your permission though. Kyuubi said and Naruto nodded. Do it. It'll be nice to have someone to talk to. The Kyuubi nodded before making a movement with its claws as if snapping its fingers. I got it. I know what I can do for you. It said, making Naruto raise an eyebrow. Really? What? You are grossly malnourished, kid. I can build up your muscles, enhancing your strength and making you grow a little taller. If I know that old Hokage, which I do since I've been watching everything happen in your life through your eyes, he's going to think of a way to help you achieve your dream. Please do it, Kyuubi-san. Hey. I have a name, you know. Really? Then what is it? Megami. S. Naruto said with wide eyes. Why, you're a girl. Yes. Of course I'm a woman. What? You don't think a woman can be the most powerful being on earth? Kyuubi shouted, making Naruto wince at the volume. Of course I think a woman can be as strong as you are. It's just that with your voice. You don't really sound like a woman. I know. I have to sound like a man. Otherwise no one will take me seriously until I decimate their homes. Kyuubi said with a huff. Is that why you attacked the village? Because you wasn't taken seriously? Naruto asked with disbelief in his voice. No. I attacked because I was forced to. I was sleeping peacefully until that pig of a man Uchiha Madara showed up. He hypnotized me with his Sharingan. I don't know what it is, but something or someone has made his eyes insanely strong. If you ever come up against that man, make sure you never look into his eyes. Kyuubi said, and Naruto nodded. Then he thought of something. Hey. Do you mean Uchiha Madara, as in the Uchiha Madara who helped Shadai-sama create this village? Yes. How did you know? We read about him once in history class. Naruto said, making the Kyuubi go wide-eyed. Has there actually been a history lesson where you weren't asleep? She asked incredulously. Yes. How could you not know that? I thought you said that you had been watching my life through my eyes. Naruto said, making Megami blush. Luckily for her, Naruto didn't see it because of her red fur covering it up. Well, I usually go to sleep at the same time as you during history class. You find it boring too, huh? Yes, but enough of that. I've managed to put those memories away. You can wake up soon. Though making these changes in your body will hurt. Kyuubi said, making Naruto slump his shoulders. Great, more pain. But at least this time I'm getting something out of it. He said, making Megami grin. Yeah. Now close your eyes and I'll get started. She ordered, and Naruto obeyed. Her chakra started swirling around Naruto before it encased him. He took it like a man though. He didn't scream. The removal of his limbs hurt a lot more than that. Meanwhile, outside, Sarutobi was sitting next to Naruto's bed, waiting for him to wake up when he felt the presence of Megamis chakra. He turned to look at Naruto and saw him writhing in pain. He was just about to do something when a shield of chakra shot up around Naruto. He watched in awe as Naruto's body started growing and, surprisingly, changing his hair color. After 5 minutes, the shield lowered. Sarutobi ran up to Naruto to check if there was any sign of the seal being broken. He breathed a sigh of relief when he found the seal still intact. I take it that was the demon's chakra, said a voice from behind him. He turned around to see Chio standing there with a scroll in her hand. I've decided to help, she said before they heard a groan coming from the boy. Am I awake yet? Naruto asked and looked at the stump that used to be his left arm. Apparently I am. Naruto-kun. Sarutobi exclaimed and grabbed the boy in a hug. I'm so glad you're awake. And perfect timing too. This is Chio-sama from Suna. She's a master puppeteer. She will help you gain your limbs back. Maybe not your original limbs, but they're better than nothing. Sarutobi said and gestured for Chio to step forward. Naruto-san. These will be your new limbs. Chio said and opened the scroll before smearing blood on it to reveal a metal left arm and 2 metal legs, like Terminator. I let you know the basics of it. Now these limbs are one of a kind. Not only are they metal instead of wood, but they also have their very own chakra system. Normally you would have to use chakra strings to make them move, but these limbs' chakra system connects to your brain, imitating the lost nerves. So basically you have arms that move on chakra instead of muscle power. The only flaw is that you won't be able to move them if you're out of chakra. Since they're fused with you, they will grow with you, so you don't have to worry about it when you grow older. I have also added a few trinkets to help. In your arm I have placed 3 blades, 1 between each knuckle. On your forearm I have also placed 3 claw-like blades, as you can see in the small slots. All you have to do is push chakra into the blades you want to use. It's basically like Wolverine claws and the spikes Batman has on the side of his forearms, only that they are bigger and reversed. In the legs I placed the 3 blades, claw blades on each shin, the bat blades, and a knee blade, like one of Wolverine's claws. Only bigger. Oh, and by the way, since your arm and legs are powered by chakra, you can just pump more chakra into them to make them stronger. That's pretty much it. They may be too small for you, but like I said, they will grow to the right size when I fuse them with you stumps. She said and gestured for Sarutobi to lay him down on the floor. Sarutobi nodded and did just that. I am now going to fuse your limbs together. It's gonna hurt a bit, she said and hooked all the limbs to the stumps before performing a couple of hand seals. The smell of burning flesh and molten metal rose from the boy as the arm and legs were fused with his body. Naruto was holding in a scream that would have shattered the window had he let it out. I think the old man said it wrong. I don't think he meant to say it will hurt quite a bit. I think he meant to say it will hurt like a bitch. He thought in agony. It feels like it felt when that woman cut them off. When all was done he laid there panting on the floor. It's going to take some getting used to, but I think you'll do fine. Chio said and started walking out of the room. Once she was at the door she turned around. Oh, and if you're ever in the neighborhood please come visit me. I'd like to see how my little project worked out. She said with a smile. Alright. I am greatly in your debt Chio-sama. Naruto said and returned the smile. It's no problem. It's Sarutobi-kun who is in my debt. She said with a grin before disappearing. This is great. Kyuubi's voice shouted in Naruto's mind. Megami-chan. Naruto thought with a raised eyebrow making Sarutobi raise his own eyebrow. What's wrong Naruto-ku he asked but was silenced by Naruto holding up his hand. I can't heal lost limbs, but I can flesh and skin so if you want I can cover up that metal. Megami said making Naruto go wide-eyed. Really? Do it please. He shouted at Megami in his mind. Alright just make sure you get back to bed first. Megami told Naruto who nodded before telling Sarutobi to put him back to bed. Once he was back to bed Naruto felt a tingling sensation at his elbow and knees. He looked down to see skin slowly spreading across his metal arm and legs. Cool. He said while Sarutobi just stared. How? He asked incredulously. Kyuubi. Naruto answered making the Hokage go wide-eyed. Why you can talk to him? He asked Naruto who raised a finger. Her. I can talk to her. Her? And so Naruto told the Hokage everything Megami had told him. So Madara is still alive after all these years? Sarutobi asked while rubbing his temples. Apparently. Naruto answered with a shrug. He looked down and saw that the skin had finally healed properly. He jumped out of bed only to fall as soon as he landed on the floor. Well this is going to take some getting used to. He said and Sarutobi nodded with a chuckle. The next 3 months were spent to learn how to use his new body parts properly. He was glad that he had Megami in his stomach when his bat blade shot into his thigh when he hit himself on the leg in a pissed off manner. Haruka also dropped by from time to time with his hands full of Ichiraku takeout. Kurenai, who had started feeling really down because of Anko refusing to talk to her, had decided to see what the demon, which she now had her doubts about, was doing. When she saw him try to walk with his new legs only to fall down after 3 steps, she started wondering if he really was a demon. Okay. Proof of that he is a demon. He's grown and changed his hair color to the Kyuubi's color. Could be the demon doing that on its own without his consent. Whisker marks. Again. Could be the demon or something that happened during the sealing. He has his limbs back. Didn't you hear the nurse? The world's most famous puppeteer came and helped him you idiot. Well then how can he still be so calm and collected even though he knows that he doesn't have any real armor legs? Think about it. How many beatings has he suffered through? Too many to count. And I have proof that he is not a demon. Oh yeah? What? What did he do when you severed his limbs? Well, he screamed and cried. Exactly. Demons don't cry. But if he isn't a demon then and that was all it took for her to break down crying in the middle of the street. 1 month later Naruto had gotten the hang of it slightly when his window opened. Why you? He shouted and fell over when he saw Kurenai crouching on the windowsill. Gee get away from me. He screamed and crawled into a corner. Naruto please list she started when she jumped into the room. Help. Help me. Naruto shouted, alerting the 3 Anbu outside who came rushing in with their swords drawn. What's wrong Naruto? An Anbu with a dog mask asked a terrified child. It's her. She's the one. She's the one who did this to me. Naruto shouted and pointed at the wide-eyed Kurenai. Then Naruto. Please listen to me. She said but was interrupted by 2 Anbu, one with a bear mask and the other with a cat mask. Take her to jail. I'll go get Hokage-sama. The dog-masked one told the other 2 who nodded and shunshined away. The dog mask grabbed Naruto by the shoulder and shunshined to the Hokage's office. Hokage-sama. We found the one who did this to Naruto. She's been taken into custody. He told the Hokage who immediately got out of his chair. What? Who was it? A jounin named Yuhi Kurenai. The dog mask said and Sarutobi nodded. Does she have a criminal record? I don't know sir. What should we do with her? Keep her there. See if she has a criminal record. I'll be there shortly. Sarutobi said and dog nodded before poofing away. Naruto. Sarutobi said. Are you sure this was the woman who attacked you? He asked getting a nod from the boy. Yes. But don't kill her Oji-san. I don't want her death on my conscience. Send her to jail but don't kill her. Naruto said getting a smile from the Hokage. Okay. I'll see what I can do. Stay here until I get back. He said before poofing away. He showed up in Konoha's prison where Kurenai was held down by Cat and Bear while Dog was waiting for Sarutobi. She doesn't have a previous record, Hokage-sama. Dog told the Hokage, who nodded. Uhi Kurenai. You are standing here accused of heavy assault. I don't know if this is the right word for it, but I'm talking about the crime where you beat someone to near death. Naruto has pointed you out. We can make this fast and simple, or we can go to court with it. How do you plead? Yes. I did it. But please just let me talk to him. You can talk to him when you get out. You are hereby demoted to Chunin and you are to be placed in jail for 3 years. You can thank Naruto for not wanting me to kill you. Sarutobi said and left the Anbu to take the now hysteric woman away. He once again poofed into the office to find Naruto reading a scroll labeled to Naruto. Dear Naruto. If you are reading this, then that means that the sealing worked and I am dead. I was hoping that I'd see you grow up, but I guess I can't, huh? I hope that the villagers are treating you right. I wish for them to see you as a hero, but I know how powerful hatred is. Forgive me, my son, and I hope Kushina is doing a good job raising you and your sister, but I think she's alright without me. Grow up strong and respected. I'm counting on you to kick Shinigami's ass and get me out of there. I'm guessing it's pretty painful in there. With love, your father Namek is Minato. Naruto read out loud to the wide-eyed Hokage. Why haven't you told me about this? Where did you find that, Naruto-kun? Sarutobi asked, looking at the slightly pissed off Naruto. In one of your drawers when I was looking for candy. Now why haven't you told me about this? Naruto asked while glaring at the Hokage. I was planning on telling you when you became a Chunin. You must understand, Naruto. Your father had enemies everywhere. I did this to protect you. Sarutobi said with a sigh. And my mom? And my sister? What about them? I don't know. Your mother left the village with your sister on the day your father sealed Megami in you. I've been trying to contact her, but no one knows where she is. Sarutobi said with a sigh. So she abandoned me. Is she like the rest of the villagers? Naruto asked with his head down. Yes. I think she is. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun. Don't be. It's not your fault she left. She's the one at fault. Naruto said and got up to leave. Where are you going? Sarutobi asked. To the academy. I think I missed enough. Naruto said and Sarutobi shook his head. Oh no, you're not. I've already sent a letter to Iruka. I'm going to be teaching you from now on. Once you've progressed enough, I'll give you the scrolls for your father's jutsus. Sarutobi said, making Naruto go wide-eyed. Why, you're going to be teaching me? He asked. At Sarutobi's nod, he jumped into the air. Yeah, oh. He said as he landed and fell once again. Time skip. 3.5 years. Naruto was standing in front of Sarutobi with a proud look on his face. He could now move his arm and legs as if they were his own original limbs. He and Megami had grown from neutral to close friends. Chio had come by once more too. Flashback 1 year ago. Hello, Naruto-kun. Chio said when Naruto entered Sandame's office. See, Chio-sama. What are you doing here? Naruto asked with wide eyes. I came to see how my little project worked out. And I made a new part for you. She said, making Naruto sweat drop. You're making me feel like a robot. He said and Chio laughed. Well, you are. Half at least. Now what I came here for. She said and held up what looked like a ball of metal. What's that? Naruto and Sarutobi asked at the same time. It's your new eye. She said, making the two go wide-eyed. But you have to be careful with it. It sucks a lot of chakra, so only use it when you're going to fight. Hi. Naruto said and gestured for the floor. Should I lay down like last time? No. That won't be necessary. Chio said and forcefully pushed his new eye into the socket. This is going to hurt like last time, so be prepared. She said and performed the same fusion jutsu. When all was over, Naruto was sitting on the ground rubbing his eye in pain. Ow. He said quietly. Now this eye has a zoom function like the Byakugan and a copying function like the Sharingan. It can also see chakra like both, has night vision and heat vision. I tried to put X-ray in there too, but it didn't fit. Feel free to tell me if you lose any more body parts. I'll be happy to fix you up, my little friend. Chio said with a witch-like laugh before poofing away, leaving a slightly dazed Naruto and a wide-eyed Sarutobi. Amazing. Your eye now has 2 functions from each of our 2 strongest clans to jutsus. Sarutobi said and Naruto just nodded. Sarutobi smiled. Great. Then this will just make learning easier for you. Try it out. He said and Naruto nodded again. He closed his eyes and concentrated. When he opened them again, Sarutobi nodded to himself with a smile when he saw that in the place where there was once just a metal ball was now a green iris that looked like the lens of a camera. Chio, you've done it again. He thought with a smile. It's green. Naruto said and looked at Sarutobi. And chakra is blue. Sarutobi nodded. Okay. Turn it off and we'll go training. He told Naruto, who was looking out the window. This is great. I can see our training ground. Oh, it's occupied. Flashback end. Naruto thoroughly enjoyed his new eye. He could be standing on the Hokage monument peeping on the women in the hot springs. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Naruto-sama is a pervert. But to his defense, every guy is a pervert. Now Naruto. Sarutobi said from behind his desk. It's been a good 3.5 years training you, but now is the time for you to become a ninja of this village. Go to Iruka's classroom tomorrow at 10 AM to meet with your new team. Sarutobi said and handed Naruto a black headband. Naruto took it and put it on his forehead. He was wearing black combat boots, black cargo pants and a black tank top. Arigato Sarutobi-sensei. Who's in my team? Wait a minute, don't tell me. He said and activated his eye. He looked at the paper on Sarutobi's desk and zoomed in. Team 7. Uzumaki Naruto, Inyazuka Kiba and Nara Shikamaru. Sensei. Hada Kakashi. Hada Kakashi. Shouldn't he be training the Uchiha? Naruto asked and Sarutobi nodded. Yes, he should be, according to the council. But the council can only make decisions involving civilian matters, but not shinobi matters. Kakashi specifically asked to train you. Me? Why? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. Because he was a student of your father and the dog-masked Anbu I put in charge of protecting you while you were in the hospital. Sarutobi said and Naruto nodded. I'll have to thank him for that. He said and turned around. See ya Sarutobi-sensei. He said and exited the office. Naruto showed up in Iruka's classroom at 9 AM to get a good spot in the back. There was a boy there already. He had black hair tied up so he looked like a pineapple. Hey. You weren't in class. This is for the graduating class only. The pineapple said while Naruto pointed at his forehead. He had decided to cover up his metal eye with his hit eye 8. I was trained by the Hokage. Don't you remember me Shikamaru? Naruto asked the boy who narrowed his eyes before shaking his head. No, I don't. It's me Naruto. Naruto said with a grin making Shikamaru go wide-eyed. Then Naruto. What happened to you? You used to be small and scrawny with yellow hair. Not tall and muscular with red hair. You look like you're 15 years old. Of course I wouldn't remember you. He shouted while flailing with his arms in a very un-Shikamaru-like behavior. Well, Sarutobi-sensei put me on a different diet than only ramen and trained me physically. And the hair was just a spur of the moment kind of thing. Naruto said and ran a hand through his hair. But the last thing I heard was that you lost an arm, an eye and both legs. I don't understand a thing. Shikamaru shouted again making Naruto laugh. Yeah, well Sarutobi-sensei contacted a puppeteer from Suna who helped me with that. Naruto said and lifted his hit eye 8 to reveal his eye making Shikamaru's eyes go wide. Whoa. Was all he could say. Yeah. I know. Naruto said before going to sit in the back. By 10 AM everyone who had graduated was sitting in the classroom, all looking strangely at Naruto. Iruka came into the class. Alright class. Congratulations on passing. I will now announce the teams. Team 1, like always I will skip these, Team 7 Uzumaki Naruto, Nara Shikamaru and Inyazuka Kiba. Team 8 Hyuga Hinata, Aburame Shino and Akimichi Choji. Team 9 is still in rotation from last year. And finally Team 10 consists of Haruno Sakura, Yamanaka Ino and Uchiha Sasuke. And just as he finished everyone winced at the two high-pitched squeals coming from the two Uchiha fangirls. Iruka-sensei. Who is this Naruto? Asked a random kid making Naruto raise his arm. That's me. He said and Iruka nodded. You all know Naruto. He was in this class 4 years ago until his accident. But he's better now and has been trained personally by Hokage-sama, so it's fine. He said making the class go wide-eyed. Alright. Your senseis should be here soon. He said and walked out leaving the entire class to turn their attention to Naruto. I will not answer any questions. He said simply before closing his eyes. 10 minutes later the door opened to reveal a man in beard and a cigarette in his mouth. Team 10 with me. He said and waited for his team to follow him. Later only Naruto's team and teammate were left when the door opened and Kurenai walked in. Everyone had a hard time breathing when a sudden burst of killing intent came from Naruto who had activated his eye. Kurenai cleared her throat. Teammate. You're with me. She said and quickly left after giving Naruto an apologizing look while Naruto just glared at her. What the hell did you just do? Kiba asked Naruto once said red-head had stopped flooding his killing intent. Killing intent. Was all Naruto said before closing his eyes again. And why were you using something that almost made me piss my pants? Kiba asked with his eyes still wide. She's the one responsible for my accident. Naruto answered with a voice that said ask me anything else and I'll rip off your head and piss down your throat. They waited for 3 hours with Naruto telling Kiba everything he told Shikamaru and telling them both what his bionic parts could do since teammates should know the extent of their teammates' abilities. He didn't tell them that he knew Haraishin or Rasengan though. After some more waiting they heard footsteps outside. The door opened to reveal a man in standard Jounin outfit, mask and his hit eye covering his left eye. Naruto and him just looked at each other for a while before pointing accusedly at each other, while both shouting copycat. What's your excuse for hiding your eye? Kakashi shouted at Naruto, who lifted his hit eye to show him and activate his metal eye. I have a bionic eye. What's your excuse? Naruto shouted back, making Kakashi raise his own hit eye. I have a chakra-sucking Sharingan. They both glared at each other with their special eyes for a while before huffing and turning away from each other. My first impression of you is you all suck, he said before pointing up. Meet on the roof. And with that he poofed away. The three genin looked at each other before heading out the door. Once on the roof, Kakashi was glaring at Naruto, who was glaring right back at him. Now we do introductions. Name, likes, dislikes, hobbies and dreams, he said, and Naruto snorted. Isn't it considered polite to introduce yourself first? He asked, and Kakashi nodded. Alright, I'll go first. My name is Hada Kakashi. My likes and dislikes are none of your concerns. I have lots of hobbies. My dreams for the future are also none of your business, he said and pointed at Kiba. Now you dog boy. Kiba growled before answering. My name is Inyazuka Kiba. My likes are dogs and training. My dislikes are Popple who doesn't treat dogs right. My hobbies are training and hanging out with my partner Akamaru here, and my dream is to become a strong clan heir, he said, and Kakashi nodded and pointed at Shikamaru. You next, sleepyhead, he told Shikamaru, who was sitting half asleep. My name is Nara Shikamaru. My likes are sleeping and cloud watching. My dislikes are troublesome things. My hobbies are sleeping and cloud watching, and my dream is to become a so-so ninja with an average salary and then settle down and have a family, he said, making the others sweat drop. Okay. You next, copycat, Kakashi said and pointed at Naruto. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. My likes are training and my friends. My dislikes are people who judge others without getting to know them first and a certain Kunoichi. My hobbies are training and peeping in the hot springs, and my dream is to become the world's strongest ninja and Hokage. You like peeping? Kakashi asked with a wide eye. Yes, I do, copycat, Naruto answered, making Kakashi growl. Hey. I was the one who started putting my hit eye over my eye. You're the copycat. How do I know that's true? I've never seen you without your Anbu mask, Naruto shouted back, making Kakashi growl again. That's it. Both of us can't have this if we're on the same team. We'll settle this with rock paper scissors. Alright. Prepare to go down, Naruto answered and got into position. Janken. They both shouted at the same time and shot out with their hands. Kakashi. Rock. Naruto. Scissor. Bam. Naruto muttered and slumped on the ground while Kakashi, being the cool jounin he is, just smiled while in his head he was doing a victory dance. He cleared his throat. Okay. Meet me on training ground 7 tomorrow for the real genin exam, he said, making the three go wide-eyed. But sensei. We've already had our genin exam, Kiba said while Shikamaru yawned. Yes, but that exam was to weed out those who weren't cut out to be a shinobi. Only 9 out of the 27 graduates will become genin, Kakashi said, making Kiba go wide-eyed. Shikamaru yawned again and Naruto pulled his hit eye up with a frown. Now meet me there tomorrow at 5 AM. Oh, and don't eat breakfast or you'll puke, Kakashi said before poofing away. Well, I guess I'll see you all tomorrow then. See ya, Naruto said before also poofing away. Next day, 9 AM. Where is that bastard? Kiba shouted in rage. They had been waiting for Kakashi for 4 hours. Yo. Kakashi said as he came into view. You're late, Kiba shouted while Kakashi just smiled an eye smile. Ah, sorry. You see, I had to save a couple of children from a burning building, and when I was done I saw that I had burnt my clothes, so I had to go change, he said with that smile still on his face. That excuse was so lame that it's not even funny, Naruto said with a sweat drop. Alright, let's start. Your mission is to take these from me, Kakashi said and held up 2 bells. Whoever doesn't get a bell gets tied up to one of those logs and has to watch the others eat lunch. You'll also get sent back to the academy. But sensei, there's only 2 bells, Naruto said while Kakashi just smiled. Yup. That means that at least one of you has to go back to the academy. Now remember that you have to come at me with the intent to kill or you'll not even get close to me. Naruto smirked. I can do that. Good. Now the clock is set for noon, Kakashi said and set an alarm clock on one of the logs. Start, he said, and immediately everyone scattered. Well, everyone except Kiba. Kiba got his ass royally whooped. Literally. He had to experience what no man should ever have to experience. Senengarashi, 1000 years of pain. Meanwhile Naruto was confused. How does he expect genins to beat him? You can beat him. But I know Hiraishin, Rasengan and have bionic body parts. Naruto thought back while Megami nodded in his mind. Maybe this test has some hidden meaning. Megami said, making Naruto go wide-eyed. Yes, of course. But what? You'll figure it out, Naruto-kun. Megami said with a yawn. I'm going to sleep. Tell me how it worked out later. You know, I'm still not quite used to a giant fox with a male voice calling me Naruto-kun. Okay then, how about this? Came Megami's voice that changed into a feminine and very seductive voice. Naruto's eyes widened. Whoa. How did you do that? That's for me to know and you to find out, Naruto-kun. Megami said before closing their mental connection. Naruto shook his head to clear that very seductive voice out of his head before he went off to find Shikamaru. He found him sleeping next to a tree. Boy, Shikamaru. Naruto said and kicked Shikamaru in the ribs, waking him up. What's so important that you had to disturb me from my sleep? Shikamaru asked with a glare. You're smart. There's gotta be some hidden meaning to this test. I just can't figure it out. Naruto said, making Shikamaru smirk. Oh? It's about time you came to that conclusion. I was waiting for someone to come to me. He told Naruto. Wo's eyes widened. You know what the meaning to this test is? Naruto asked and Shikamaru nodded. Teamwork. He said simple and closed his eyes while Naruto pondered for a while before snapping his fingers. Of course. Let's go get Kiba. Naruto said and started dragging a reluctant Shikamaru with him. They found him sitting next to a tree, nursing his aching ass. Boy, Kiba. We know what this test is about. We gotta work together. Naruto said from behind him, scaring the shit out of Kiba. I don't need your help. I can beat him all by myself. Kiba said arrogantly. Naruto groaned. Kiba. Open your eyes. You're wet behind the ears, Genin, and he's a former Anbu captain. He kicked your ass without even having to use his Sharingan. Naruto said and Shikamaru nodded. He's right, Kiba. Even with your and a camera's help it isn't enough, but we just have to keep him still for a moment until we can grab the bells. Shikamaru said and Kiba nodded. Fine, but if I fail because of you I'm going to make our next academy year a living hell. He said and Akamaru barked in agreement. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Shikamaru said and revealed his plans. All 30 of them. 30 minutes later Kakashi found Naruto standing in a clearing looking smug. You know, the basics of a ninja is stealth. Kakashi said while Naruto smirked. I don't need stealth to beat you. I also know the true meaning of this test, but I don't need my teammates to beat you either. He said, making Kakashi severely disappointed. That's foolish of you, Naruto. I thought you could be a good ninja, but I guess I was wrong. I guess I'll have to beat teamwork into your head. He said and got into a fighting stance. You can try. Was all he said before disappearing from view. He reappeared behind Kakashi and came at him with a vicious axe kick. Kakashi raised his arm to block. He could feel his bones creaking when his arms connected with the solid metal in Naruto's right leg. Naruto put his left foot on Kakashi's arms in midair and pushed off, backflipping safely onto the ground. Kakashi started shaking off the pain in his arms. That's some kick you got there. Naruto smiled. Thanks. Want another? He asked and charged again, this time appearing on the ground in front of Kakashi, delivering another axe kick that forced him to jump back. It'll be a cold day in hell before I try to block another one of his kicks. Kakashi thought as he jumped away. The axe kick connected with the ground, forming a small crater. He came at Kakashi again with a flurry of kicks and punches, forcing him back until he was 9 feet away from the trees in the forest. All of a sudden Naruto stopped attacking. What the was all Kakashi could think before finding himself frozen to the ground. We passed the test, sensei. Naruto said with a smirk. I thought you said that you didn't need your teammates. Kakashi said calmly as he started breaking out of the cage main, shadow mimicry. The key for a ninja is stealth and deception, right? Naruto said, making Kakashi smile as he broke out of the cage main. Yeah, but you spent too much time talking. You didn't get the bells. Kakashi said before a new voice was heard. Kakashi turned to his right and saw Kiba and Akamaru sitting on the ground, Akamaru with 2 bells in his mouth. Our plan was for Naruto to make you think that he was arrogant enough to go up against a former Anbu captain, so you wouldn't think of searching for us. Then Naruto would use his superior strength thanks to his bionic parts to force you back close enough for me to catch you in my cage main, while Akamaru grabbed the bells when Naruto was talking to you. Shikamaru said as he came out into the clearing. It's really troublesome. I thought of 30 plans we could use when we only needed one. Kakashi smiled at his team. You pass. He said and led them to the memorial stone. Do you know what this is? He asked and Naruto nodded. Yeah. That's the hero's memorial stone. For people who were Kia. My dad's name is there. He said and pointed at the name Namikaze Minato before he pointed at Uchiha Obito. And I'm guessing this is how you got your Sharingan. Kakashi nodded. Yeah, how did you know? When Sarutobi-sensei told me that you were a student of my father, I decided to look up his other student to see if anyone could tell me what he was like. It said in the folder that Uchiha Obito was Kia on a mission and that you somehow acquired your Sharingan on that mission. He said and shrugged. I just put 2 and 2 together. Yes. Obito was the class dope while I was the clan genius. He was actually a lot smarter than me since he taught me something. Those who doesn't obey the rules are trash, but those who abandon their teammates are worse than trash. Take that to your heart. There's nothing more important than teamwork. Now go home and get something to eat. Tomorrow we begin doing missions. Dismissed. He said before poofing away to go read his book. The 3 newly promoted genins looked at each other with a smile before heading off. 3 weeks and 42 tier rank missions later. They had just come back from capturing Tora the cat. Team 7 was the only team ever assigned that mission since Naruto could easily locate Tora with his eye and somehow managed to gain the cat's trust. He was now considered a hero among the shinobi population since almost every ninja at least once have had to capture that cat and never gotten out of the mission without a scratch. When Naruto saw the Fire Lord's wife hug the cat too near death, he got a little upset. Excuse me Shijimi Abasan. I think I know why Tora runs away all the time. He said, getting her and his teammates' attention. Oh? Please tell me. She said politely. You treat him like a plushie. He's a living animal and what you're doing could be considered animal abuse. He said, getting a grateful look from the cat when Lady Shijimi loosened her teeth grip on the cat. It's not meant as an insult or anything but you're hurting the cat. I am? She asked and held up Tora in front of her. Tora hissed and tried to claw her face. Oh, I'm no good with animals. What did that mean? She asked, making everyone sweat drop. It meant that he doesn't like you. When cats purr and come to you willingly, that means they like you. If they hiss and try to scratch you, that means they don't like you. You can still make up for it. Spoil him with gifts and don't hug him. Only pet him softly. Naruto said and looked at the cat who was drooling and staring at the ceiling dreamy-eyed. Thanks for the tip Naruto oi. Shijimi said with a smile and paid for the mission. But if you're wrong and this doesn't work, then you'll have to clean our entire house. She said with a smirk. Fine. Naruto said before Shijimi left. Naruto. Why did you call her your aunt? Kiba asked shocked. Because she is my aunt through marriage. She's my father's brother's wife. Naruto answered, shocking his 2 teammates further. The Fire Lord is your uncle. Kiba shouted and sat down in shock. I don't believe this. His father is the Yondaime and his uncle is the Fire Lord. By the way Naruto-kun. Chio sent a letter. She says that she has an upgrade for you. That's why I'm giving you this A rank mission to Suna. You have to take this scroll Sarutobi said and handed a scroll to Kakashi. To the Kazekage. It's of most importance that he gets it. I know you may think that you're too inexperienced for A rank, but the rank is based on the importance of the scroll. He said and Kakashi nodded. Got it. Let's go team. Pack up and meet me at the gates in 30 minutes. Kakashi said before poofing away. 30 minutes later they were all standing at the gates. Even Kakashi. They had attacked him at first thinking he was an impostor but believed him when he said that he's never late for an important mission. 2 days passed with them only beating down thugs who thought it'd be a good idea to rob them. The last day went by without much trouble at all except Kiba complaining about sand in his ears. They were led into Suna when they showed them the scroll and were led to the Kazekage Tower. Ah. You're Team 7 right? Kazekage said when they entered his office. At their nod he continued. Then I need Uzumaki Naruto to step forward. Naruto nodded and stepped forward. Hokage Don sent a message that you'd show up and that Chio Basama wanted to see you. He said and gestured for a jounin standing in the corner of the office. This is Baki. He will lead you to her living quarters. Baki stepped up and grabbed Naruto's shoulder before disappearing in a swirl of sand. They appeared at the foot of a long stairway leading to a house on top of what looked like a mountain. She lives up there. He said simply before turning around to leave. Then why couldn't you take me up there immediately? Naruto asked while Baki frowned. Ebizujai-sama is our village's greatest seal master. He has constructed a seal that keeps anyone from being able to shunshin any closer than this. We'll have fun climbing those stairs. He said with a smirk before vanishing again. Naruto just muttered a bastard. Before starting the long climb. He came to the top and entered the house. He entered a circular room with a patch of water in the middle. There were 2 elders sitting around the water with fishing poles. One of which was Chio. Yo. Chio Basama. Naruto said as he entered the room. The male of the 2 elders, who Naruto assumed was Ebizu, looked up when Naruto entered the room. Naruto walked up to Chio who didn't respond. Ano Chio Basama? He asked and ran a hand in front of her face. No response. She had her eyes opened half and looked kind of dead. Are you dead? All of a sudden she opened her eyes fully and shouted a boo. Scaring the shit out of Naruto. She cackled evilly. Coo. I still got it. Then C saw who it was. Oh. It's my little project. Come for the upgrade have you? She asked, making Ebizu raise one of his overly long eyebrows. Ni-chan. What are you talking about? He asked, only to be ignored. Good, good. She cackled and pulled out a knife. The old man nearly had a heart attack when she started run the knife a lap around Naruto's arm at the elbow. She then made a vertical cut down his arm before forcefully pulling the skin off his arm. Think of how Arnold did when he showed his arm in Terminator 2. Ni-chan. What are you doing? Ebizu shouted, shocked out of his mind. He was surprised to see that the boy had a metal arm under the skin and flesh. Ni-chan. Chio looked at Ebizu for a moment before smiling. Oh Ebizu. This is my pet project Uzumaki Naruto. She said happily and pointed at Naruto, who frowned. Chio-sama, please. Don't call me a project. He said, but was saddened to realize that she wasn't even listening. Now come. She said and pulled him into another room where she had a whole bunch of metal parts. You really want to turn me into a full machine, don't you? Naruto asked, getting a nod from the old woman. Yes, of course. She said and went to the other side of the room and picked up a metal cylinder. Now this is a great upgrade. It's a chakra cannon. She exclaimed and pulled Naruto to a work table. What's your element? Wind and fire. Naruto answered, getting an evil cackle from the woman. Oh, perfect. Now sit still and this'll be over in a second. She said and started tinkering with Naruto's arm. After 15 minutes of tinkering she was done and Naruto had his metal cylinder attached in the middle arm. Chio pointed at a couple of hinges attached to the cylinder. See these hinges? Pump chakra into them. She told Naruto, who complied. When he pumped chakra into the hinges they pushed the cylinder until it rested on top of his arm, kinda like the super droids in Star Wars, only there is just one cannon. Good. Now compress your wind chakra into a bowl and push it through the cannon. But point it at the floor. She ordered and Naruto once again complied. He pointed it at the floor and pushed his ball of wind through the cylinder. The results were amazing. The ball was launched through the cannon at an extremely high speed, resulting in it cutting through the floor into the floor below them, barely missing a scared out of his mind Ebizu. Naruto looked at Chio with a smile. This is awesome. He shouted, getting a smile out of the old woman. I know. Now go. I'll let you know if I make any more upgrades. Chio said and motioned for Naruto to leave. You can shunshin out of the building but not into the building. She said and Naruto nodded before covering up his arm with a cloth and using shunshin to get back to the Kazukiyage's office where Kakashi and the others were waiting. When he got back his teammates noticed the cloth but didn't say anything when Naruto gave them "I'll tell you later" look. Ah, Naruto-san. I trust your visit went well. Chio-sama is known to be a little well, she doesn't have all the cards in her deck if you know what I mean. Kazukiyage said, getting a nod from Naruto. Oh yeah. I know what you mean. Naruto said and shuddered. She's a little, he said and made a whistling sound and made a screwing motion with his finger against his head. But it went well. May I ask how you know her? Kazukiyage asked politely. Naruto decided to lie since he didn't want anyone outside of Konoha to know of his bionic limbs. Well, 4 years ago I got poisoned by a rare poison that we couldn't cure, so Sarutobi-sensei called for Chio-sama to help. It took a whole lot of pleading, but we eventually got her to help. He said and the Kazukiyage nodded. Okay. Well, I guess I've held you up long enough. You should hurry back to Konoha with this. Kazukiyage said and handed Kakashi a scroll. Kakashi nodded and grabbed Kiba by the shoulder, while Naruto grabbed Shikamaru by the shoulder and Shunshined to the gates. Once they were about 3 miles into Fire Country, Kiba decided to ask. Hey Naruto. What was the upgrade? He asked, getting nods from his other teammate and sensei. Yes, I would also like to know that. Kakashi said while Naruto grinned and pulled the cloth of his arm. Look at this. He said and pushed chakra into the hinges, revealing the chakra cannon. What the hell is that? Kiba asked, making Naruto grin even more. I'll show you. See that tree? He asked and pointed at a tree. At their nods, he grinned like a Cheshire cat. Not for long. He took aim at the tree and compressed a ball of fire chakra into the cannon. He fired the bullet into the tree. There was an explosion. Once all the smoke had cleared, the only thing left of the tree were some burned splinters. Naruto just started walking away casually, leaving his stunned teammates and sensei behind. That's some firepower, Naruto-kun. Came Megumi's voice in his head. Yeah, I know. Hey, can you heal my arm again? But leave a patch of skin so I don't have to cut up my arm every time I want to use my cannon. He thought and got a mental nod from Megami as she got to work. He covered up his arm with the cloth again before turning to his team. Hey, are you guys coming or are you just gonna stand there looking stupid? The three shook their heads to clear the shock before following Naruto. He has an eye implant with 2 attributes from the Sharingan and Byakugan, night vision, heat visor and bionic legs, and an arm with a cannon. Kakashi thought in despair. He was no longer the most unique person on the team. They got back to Konoha safely without any trouble. 3 days later Naruto had been training and was walking around Konoha when he saw Kurenai with her team walking towards the Hokage tower which was behind him. She looked hopeful when she saw him. Maybe I can get a chance to talk to him now. She thought but was disappointed when he jumped up on the roof of a building and started roof hopping to his home which was the Namikaze compound. Damn it. 3 more days passed with Naruto and his team going back to D-rank missions. That night there was a knock on his door. He opened it and saw Kurenai standing in the rain looking like a wreck. He immediately extracted his claws, got into a defensive stance, and started flooding his kai. "What do you want?" he asked with venom in his voice. "I want to apologize," she said with her head down. Naruto grabbed her by the neck and pushed her up against the wall with his claws at her stomach. "And is that gonna make it better?" Naruto snarled at her with a raised eyebrow. "Is apologizing gonna give me my arm, legs and eye back?" "No," she whispered. "What?" "No. Not for you," she answered louder this time. "Not for me? Then for who?" "For me. I can't sleep anymore. My best friend doesn't want to talk to me and I've lost the respect of my co-workers. I just want everything to stop," she said with tears in her eyes. "So you want me to forgive you because you suffer? Not because you feel guilty about leaving me a cripple who could only become a ninja by turning half of my body into metal?" Naruto snarled and poked her in the stomach with his claws. She nodded. "Of course I feel guilty. Otherwise I wouldn't have shown up here. And how can I know that? How do I know that you're not just trying to get close enough to finish the job?" Naruto asked glaring at her with his metal eye. "Look at what you did to me. I can't forgive you. You don't know what it's like to live like this. Get off my property," he said and let her go letting her slump down on the ground before he went back into his house. "I felt no eyes coming from her," Megami told Naruto who sat down in a chair in his living room. "Neither did I," Naruto said with his eyes closed. "Did you have to be so cold?" Megami asked before realizing what they were talking about. "Never mind. Megami-chan. A part of me wants to forgive her, while another part of me wants to do the eye for an eye thing," he thought with a groan. "I just don't know what to do. Find out why she did it. Find out how far she's willing to go to earn your forgiveness," Megami said making Naruto snap his eyes open. "I can do that," he thought before getting up. He opened the door and found her in the same spot she was in before he left. "There's one way I can forgive you," he said making her raise her head to look at him. "Really? How?" she asked while he took out a kunai. "Walk 1,000 miles in my shoes," he said letting her know what he meant. "He wants to cut off my limbs." "You've brought it upon yourself," said the voice in her head. Naruto crouched down next to her and placed the kunai at her left knee. "So? Do you want me to forgive you?" Kurenai sat there for a while before closing her eyes. "Yes." Naruto stared at her for a while before sighing. "You're forgiven. It doesn't mean I like you, but you're forgiven at least," he said before going back and leaving Kurenai to just stare at the door. Now about Naruto's cannon. On the side is a chakra gauge. It shows how much chakra you pump into the cannon. Naruto has never tried more than half yet. It had been a week since Naruto forgave Kurenai and he hadn't seen her. That day when they came into the Hokage's office they saw teammates standing in front of the Hokage's desk. "Ah. Team 7. Just the team I wanted to see," Sarutobi said when they entered his office. "I have a joint C rank for you here with Team 8 here," he said and gestured for Team 8. Naruto and Kurenai looked at each other for a swift moment before Naruto looked away. "So what's the mission?" he asked Sarutobi who smiled. "You're going to protect this bridge builder, Tazuna," he said and shouted at the door. "You can come in now." In through the door came an old man with a bottle of sake in his hand and an ugly ass hat. "These people are supposed to protect me? They're just kids," he shouted and pointed at Naruto. "And that brat only has one eye." And at the moment he said that the room temperature went down several degrees. In a second Naruto was in front of him with his claws at the man's neck. "You'd be wise not to insult me, old man," he said with a growl. "It might just get you killed." The man, who was by now sweating bullets, nodded slowly. "Oh okay. Good," Naruto said slowly before removing his claws. Kakashi cleared his throat. "Don't worry Tazuna-san. They can handle a few bandits. And even if they can't, Kurenai and I are Jounin. We can protect you," he said before turning to his team. "Okay guys. Meet at the gates in 20 minutes," he asked and looked at Kurenai who nodded. "Sounds good," she said and Tazuna nodded before leaving. "Well, see you guys then," Kakashi said and poofed away. Team 7 started to leave, but Naruto stayed behind and turned to Team 8. "That means 50 minutes," he said and left the office. True to Naruto's words, Kakashi showed up at the gates 50 minutes later at the same time as Naruto and his teammates. After walking for 2 hours they saw a whole gang of about 50 men with swords and other pointy objects running towards them screaming obscenities. Naruto looked at Kakashi before forcing chakra into his arm, making his cannon appear. "You think I can take them all in one shot?" he asked and charged chakra into his cannon. Kakashi's eye widened when he looked at the chakra gauge. "Fool. You've never fully charged it before," he shouted, making Naruto smile and look at him. "I know. But sometimes gotta be the first," he said and aimed at the thugs. "They're not very smart charging people head on like that, are they?" "Nope," Kakashi said in a bored tone. "Fire," he said and Naruto released the chakra in his cannon. The bullet traveled faster than Kakashi could follow and impacted perfectly in the middle of the thugs 80 feet away. The explosion was so grand that they could feel the heat even from an 80 feet distance. The shockwave blew the genins, Suna and Kurenai, who hadn't been prepared for a blast that big, off their feet. When all was over, Kakashi looked at Naruto. "A tip. Next time you charge it fully," he started but was interrupted by Naruto. "Use wind, yeah I know," he said with wide eyes, frozen in the same position he was in when he fired. Only 15 minutes later they encountered two Chunin missing nins who called themselves the Demon Brothers. They were stopped by Shikamaru's Cage Main and immobilized by Kiba's Tsuuga, Piercing Fang, and Chaoja's Nikuden Sensha, Meat Tank. They found out that they were hired to kill Tazuna, making the mission be to A rank, based on the skill level of any upcoming nin they may meet. They continued walking for 2 hours before they decided to set up camp. Naruto was having that dream again. The nightmare from 4 years ago. "What the hell?" Megami shouted from her cage. "I thought I locked those dreams away," she said to herself before she got back to work, trying to push those dreams away. Kurenai had guard duty when she saw Naruto writhing in his sleep. He started groaning and cupped his hand over his left eye. Kurenai knew what he was dreaming about. She walked up to him and shook him awake. He sat up with a jolt, extracted his claws, extracted. "Is that how you say it?" and placed them at Kurenai's neck. He looked at her with wide eyes and blinked a few times before realizing what he was doing. He retracted his claws and muttered a sorry. Kurenai, now over her shock, shook her head. "No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have woken you up like that." Naruto just sat there staring at the fire. "You dreamt about that night, didn't you?" she asked, getting a nod from Naruto. "What was going through your head?" he asked, making Kurenai raise an eyebrow. "What? What was going through your head when you did it?" he asked, letting her know what he meant. "I don't know, I had been drinking that night and only thought about my parents. And we all believed so strongly that you were the demon. I just wanted peace. I only got more pain though," she said and Naruto nodded slowly. She was on the verge of tears by then and Naruto decided to cheer her up. "I may miss my original limbs but at least now I have these really cool blades and a cannon of mass destruction," he said with a grin, making Kurenai giggle a little. "Meh. It was better than a frown," he thought with a mental shrug. "Have you started warming up to her, Naruto-kun?" Megami asked in his mind. "Maybe, I don't know." "What do you mean you don't know? How hard is it to know?" "I don't know. It's confusing. One moment I want to gut her like a fish and the next I want to get to know her better. What do I do?" he asked and grasped his head in despair, making Kurenai raise an eyebrow. "What's wrong?" she asked, making Naruto jump in shock. He had forgot she was there. Nothing. I was just thinking," he said and Kurenai narrowed her eyes. "No, you weren't. What were you really doing?" "I was talking to Megami," he said, not really caring about what she'd do. "Megami? Kyuubi? You can talk to it?" she asked. "Her? What?" "I can talk to her," he said and told her everything Megami had told him. He didn't know why he told her everything. He just did. "So Kyuubi Megami wasn't responsible for the attack?" "Not directly. She attacked but she wasn't in control," Naruto answered. "She isn't really that bad. She was the one who brought me out of my coma, gave me useful tips during training, helped me grow, and gave me this really cool hair color," he said and ran a hand through his hair, making Kurenai giggle. "So why haven't you told anyone about it?" she asked Naruto, who raised an eyebrow. "Would anyone believe me?" "No, I guess they wouldn't." "Well," Naruto said and stood up. "It's been nice talking to you, but I think I need to get some shut-eye. I don't really need it, but I really like sleeping," he said, making Kurenai giggle again. "Yeah, I think it's about time for Kakashi's shift," Kurenai said and got up to wake Kakashi while Naruto got into his sleeping bag. "Good night." "Good night." The next day they were on their way to Wave. Naruto was in the rear with Kurenai talking. "Hey. I thought you were demoted to Chunin," Naruto said. "When did you become a Jounin again?" "I took the Jounin exams 3 days after I got out of prison. Though I still have to work getting Chunin pay for 6 more months. I've wanted to be a Jounin sensei since I was 15, so I don't really care about the pay," she told Naruto, who nodded. "How were you allowed to take the exams?" he asked and Kurenai shrugged. "I don't know. I was sure Hokage-sama wouldn't allow me to take the exams, but he did." She answered before deciding to ask him a question. Why did you not want me dead? What? Okajama told me before he put me in jail that I had you to thank for not being executed. I took away your chances of living a normal life. Why did you ask him not to kill me? By this time their conversation had caught the attention of their co-travelers. Naruto shrugged. I don't know. I guess I didn't want your death on my conscience. It was unnecessary. At this time Kakashi decided to make himself heard. Well, as good as it is seeing you two bond like that, I need you to keep your focus on the mission at Get Down. He shouted and grabbed Suna and Kiba and pulled them to the ground while the others dove to the ground in time for a huge sword to come swinging through the air before lodging itself into a tree. Big. Naruto said, getting up as a man landed on the sword. Really big. Kiba said as he too got up with the rest of the group. Naruto leaned in and whispered to Kiba loud enough for the man to hear. You think he's trying to compensate for something? He asked, making Kiba and Kakashi snicker while a tick formed in the man's forehead. Hey, who do you think you are, insulting me like that, Gaki? Do you have a death wish? He asked and jumped down, grabbing his sword, dislodging it from the tree before landing on the ground. No, but you probably do. I don't care who you are, unless you are an S-rank nin, you either gotta be really brave or really stupid going up against the copy nin Kakashi, Konoha's Genjutsu specialist and 6 clan heirs. Naruto said, making the man raise an eyebrow. Oh? Copy ninja Kakashi, huh? No wonder the demon brothers and those thugs Gato hired lost. No. Kakashi said, shaking his head. Naruto here took care of the thugs, and Kiba and Chaoji took care of the demon brothers. He said before lifting his hit I-8. Stay out of this, guys. Zabuza smirked and performed a few seals. Ninpu. Kurigaku no Jutsu, ninja arts. Hidden mist technique. He said, and a thick mist started rolling in. The mist was so thick that you couldn't see further than 6 feet in front of you after Kakashi sent out a wave of chakra to disperse some of it. Kakashi turned to Naruto. Naruto. Where is he? He asked, and Naruto activated his eye and set it for heat vision. He stood there looking around and saw him just standing next to the lake while a shadow, slightly warmer than the air around them, moved between them and Tizuna. Naruto's eyes widened. Behind. He shouted and extracted his claws and stabbed the Mizubunshin, water clone. Oh? The brat is pretty good, Kakashi. Came Zabuza's voice from behind Kakashi. Naruto decided not to say anything since he saw that Kakashi was just a Mizubunshin. Zabuza cut through Kakashi and got wide-eyed. What? He copied it through the mist. He thought as a kunai was placed at his neck. It's over. Kakashi said with a smirk. Sensei. That's just a bunshin. He's behind you. Naruto shouted, making Kakashi go wide-eyed. He destroyed the Mizubunshin and ducked under a sword swing. He looked up just in time for a powerful kick to connect with his face, sending him flying into the lake. Kakashi got up and looked at the water. It's heavy. He said as Zabuza appeared behind him. Foolish. He said and performed some seals. Suro no Jutsu, water prison technique. He said, and a dome of water appeared around Kakashi, trapping him. Get out of here. This fight ended the second I got caught. Kakashi shouted when Zabuza made a Mizubunshin. The bunshin walked up to shore and looked at Kurenai. Konoha's Genjutsu Mistress Yuhi Kurenai, huh? Well, there's nothing you can do. I have better ninjutsu and taijutsu than you, and there hasn't been a genjutsu yet that I haven't been able to dispel. He said with a smirk. Naruto lost his temper and charged Zabuza from the air with his claws. Zabuza just smirked before reaching into the air and grabbing Naruto round the throat. Naruto. Kiba and Shikamaru shouted in unison when Zabuza grabbed him. That was foolish of you. Zabuza said, throwing Naruto to the ground and stepping on his chest. Stupid little one of ninja. That's what's wrong with Konoha. You're too soft. You don't teach your kids what the real world is like. Nowadays these stupid brats don't even think about that they may die. They're just charging and trying to be heroes. He said with a smirk that Naruto mimicked. He looked up at Zabuza, who had his foot on his chest. This was all part of my plan. He said, making Zabuza raise an eyebrow. Naruto extracted his cannon, charged it with a small fire shot and aimed at Zabuza's head. Surprise fuckface. He said and fired. Zabuza's head was blasted into a puddle of water. Naruto got up and started squeezing the water out of his clothes. Asshole. Zabuza just stood on the water, holding Kakashi's prison with wide eyes. What the hell is this kid? Naruto turned around with a smile. I'm your death. He said and fired at real Zabuza. Zabuza's eyes widened and he ducked under the bullet but found that he had to jump over another one. After firing 15 shots, Naruto got tired. Damn it. Fuck it. Time to whip out the big guns. He said before taking out a 3-pronged kunai without the ring at the end and placing it in the barrel of his cannon. Kakashi's eyes widened when he saw the kunai. Naruto smirked. Here's another surprise. He said and extracted his claws before firing the kunai above Zabuza's head. The moment the kunai flew past Zabuza's head, Naruto disappeared in a flash of red. He appeared behind Zabuza, who reacted just in time to only get a shallow cut in his back instead of getting cut in half. Back on shore, Kurenai's eyes widened. Harem, she said, making the older genins look at her. What? Harem is the technique Yondaime Sama used to earn his nickname, the Yellow Flash, Kurenai said while looking at the spot where Naruto had appeared. He single-handedly won the war against Iwa with it, she said, making the genins' eyes widen as well. And Naruto knows it? Kiba asked, more to himself than anyone else. Blast off. Naruto said with a smile and formed a Rasengan in his right hand before slamming it into the water, sending a huge wave of water slamming into Zabuza, forcing him back into a tree. Once there, he received a kunai to each limb, courtesy of Kakashi, who sat on a tree branch with a kunai in hand. It's time for you to die, he said, and held up the kunai when two senbons came flying into Zabuza's neck. Well, would you look at that? He did die, said a voice from another tree. Looking over there, they saw a boy, slightly older than the genins, sitting on a tree branch wearing a Kiri Hunter Nin mask. Thank you for wounding him for me. I've been searching for him for a very long time, he said, and disappeared in a swirl of mist before appearing next to Zabuza. I must dispose of this body, for it holds many secrets. Farewell. And with that, he disappeared with Zabuza's body. Naruto turned to Kakashi with a smile. That ended well, didn't I? He started but froze before falling unconscious to the ground. Naruto. Kiba and Shikamaru shouted in unison before Kakashi waved to them. It's alright guys, he just suffers from chakra exhaustion. He'll be fine, was all he managed to say before he slumped unconscious to the ground. Well then. Let's take them to Tazuna-san's house, Kurenai said and slung Kakashi's arm over her shoulder. Kiba, you take Naruto. Naruto woke up the next day in a room lying in a futon 5 feet away from Kakashi, who was out cold. He got up and followed the scent of bacon and came into a kitchen where Team 8, Team 7, Tazuna, an unknown woman and a kid were sitting around a table. Kiba's eyes widened when he saw Naruto standing in the doorway. Naruto, he shouted, making the others aware of the blonde. You're awake. Kurenai-sensei said that it would be longer. Well, I've always recovered quickly, Naruto said with a smile and took a step forward. That's as far as he got though before he fell to the ground. Oh. Was all he managed to say before his face collided with the floor. Naruto. Shikamaru shouted and ran up to him with Kiba and helped him to the table. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. My legs just have a hard time working again after chakra exhaustion, Naruto said as he sat down. It takes a while for the chakra to fill the systems again, he said and held up his arm. Look. He pumped chakra into his arm to try and show them his cannon, but it got stuck halfway. My arm and leg suck chakra like crazy trying to restore the chakra that's gone. Give me one more nigt and I'll be as good as new, he said with a smile. He was introduced to the woman and the boy. The woman's name was Tsunami and the boy's name was Inari. Inari just up and left the table when Kurenai mentioned a picture on the wall. They were told that the man who was torn from the picture was the hero of Wave who was publicly executed by Gato. Kakashi and Kurenai started teaching Team 8 and Team 7, excluding Naruto, the tree climbing exercise, while Naruto guarded Tazuna. 1 week later they were sitting around the dinner table when Inari decided to ask a question. Why do you do it? He asked, making everyone look at him. Why do you try so hard? You're all just going to get killed anyway. You can never stop Gato. Says who? Naruto asked. So what? You're all just gonna cower under the table and cry? He asked and walked up to Inari. You're pathetic. I'll show you, you little brat. I'll kill Gato and put his head right on that table. He growled and pointed at the table before leaving the house. Kakashi came into the kitchen on his crutches. He looked at the other nins. He's gonna do something stupid, isn't he? Yep. Kiba said slowly while nodding. What do we do? Kurenai asked, looking at Kakashi. Our mission is to protect Azuna, and that we shall. I know Naruto, he's not gonna do anything too stupid. I hope, he said before sitting down. So we're not gonna go after him or something? Choji asked and Kakashi shook his head. No. If he does do something stupid and ends up in a dangerous situation he can't handle, he'll just come to us with this, he said and held up a 3-pronged kunai. He gave it to me and told me to throw it on the ground if I needed help or if we got separated on a mission. Naruto was running through the forest when he smelled the hunter nin from before. He looked through the trees and saw a boy who looked like a girl walking through the forest with a basket of medicinal herbs. That's Zabuza's accomplice, Megami said in Naruto's head. I know, Naruto thought with a nod. So what are you gonna do? What do you think? Follow him. After following the boy for 10 minutes, the boy just disappeared, only to appear behind Naruto with a senbon at his neck. Why are you following me? He asked, making Naruto smirk. To find Zabuza and in turn find Gato, he said from behind the boy, making his eyes widen. What? When did you? The boy asked and quickly turned around to stab Naruto, only for him to poof away. Gotcha. Naruto said with a kunai at the boy's throat and his claws at his back. Now where is Zabuza? I won't tell you anything. Naruto sighed. Damn, then I have to go by the scent. Oh well, then I don't need you. He said before driving his claws into the boy's back. When the boy gasped, Naruto ran his knife across the boy's throat. That was brutal. Megami said when the boy hit the ground. You know you liked it. I did. Shit. Now I have to track the boy's scent. Naruto thought with a sigh. He started sniffing around for about 30 seconds before he found the boy's scent. He followed the trail back to a huge house deep inside the forest. 2 guards outside. You think Gato may be inside? He could be. You better check first. Good idea. Naruto thought before placing a special made ringless kunai in his cannon. He fired the kunai at one of the guards at top speed before rushing the other guard, knocking him out with a quick blow to his gut with the left arm. He dragged the unconscious guard away into the forest and tied him up against a tree. The guard woke up 10 minutes later to find Naruto sitting in front of him, watching him lazily. Yo. Who are you? The guard exclaimed, making Naruto smile. That depends. Depends on what? Depends on whether you answer my questions or not. If you give me a bad or no answer, I'm your enemy. If you give me the answer I want, I'm your friend. What questions? Well, Naruto said and put a hand to his chin. First of all, is Gato inside that house? Yes. The guard said, making Naruto smile. Good. Now that's the kind of answer that makes me your friend. Second question. Is Zabuza in that house? Yes. He's in bed and can't move. Very good. Now last question. Are there any civilians in there? No. Naruto smiled and got up. Those answers made me your friend. And as your friend it hurts me to do this. Naruto said and rammed his claws into the man's face. Did it really hurt you to do that? Megami asked with a mental raised eyebrow. Not really. Naruto said with a shrug. They're all murderers and thieves. They don't deserve pity. That's not what you said about Kurenai-chan. Megami said with a playful voice. That's different. How? Well, it's shut up. Ah. I see. Naruto-kun likes Kurenai-chan. Megami shouted, making a vein appear in Naruto's forehead. No, I don't. The woman cut off my arm and legs. And yet you haven't killed her. Ha. Naruto and Kurenai sitting in a tree and kissin. Shut up. Naruto yelled in his mind before closing the mental link with Megami. Like I would ever kiss someone in a tree, he muttered to himself before walking off to the house. He positioned himself about 30 yards away from the house before charging up his cannon. He pumped it full of fire chakra and fired just as Gato stepped out of the house. He smirked. Jana, Gato. He said to himself right before the house exploded, sending Gato flying in his direction. Oh shit. Naruto exclaimed before ducking just in time for the short man's corpse to fly right past his head. He walked over to Gata's corpse and found that he had severe burns on his back and a crushed nose, probably from the slamming into a tree. Alright. Naruto said to himself and took a knife from his pouch. Let's get this over with. And with that he started removing Gata's head from his body. The people sitting around Tezuna's dinner table almost lost control of their bladders when Naruto appeared in the room with a red flash. Yo. He said with one hand in the air and the other behind his back. Welcome back, Naruto. I'm guessing you were behind the explosion we heard a while ago. Kakashi asked with a raised eyebrow, getting a happy nod from Naruto. Yep. You heard it all the way over here? He asked before whistling. That must have been one hell of a blast. Their hideout was about 3 miles from here. So how did it go? Kakashi asked and Naruto smiled before placing Gata's head on the table, making the occupants go wide-eyed. Success. Naruto said with a smile before going up to his room to get some sleep. Hokage's office. Naruto, why did you go all lone wolf on that mission? Sarutobi asked with a sigh as Team 7 and 8 stood in front of Sarutobi's desk. Do you want the truth or a lie? Naruto asked, making Sarutobi sigh again. Yes. Naruto nodded. The lie it is, he started, but stopped when he saw the look on Sarutobi's face. Fine, I went lone wolf because that Inari brat pissed me off. If you're expecting an apology, I can tell you that it's not coming. I wouldn't expect you to apologize. I've come to learn that apologizing is something you don't do. Good. Then I'll just leave now. Was all Naruto said before blurring away. Well then, dismissed. Sarutobi said with a sigh. But not you two. He said, looking at Kakashi and Kurenai. The Jounins have a meeting here in 10 minutes. Don't be late, and I swear to Kami, if you're late, I'm gonna demote you to Chunin, Kakashi. Fine, Kakashi said with a sigh and pulled out his Icha Paradise before poofing away. Naruto's house. Hey Naruto. Kiba shouted, banging on Naruto's door 15 minutes later. The door opened to reveal Naruto without his left eye. Dude. Kiba shouted in disgust, staring at the empty eye socket. Put the eye back in. Oh. Naruto said and turned around. Sorry. I've been working on it. He said as he walked inside. So, what do you want? I just came by to tell you that Kakashi-sensei wants to meet us at the bridge in 10 minutes. Kiba said, staring as Naruto picked his bionic eye off the table and plopped it back into the socket with a sickening, squelching sound. You do realize that that's really gross, right? Yep. Naruto said as he placed a small paper seal on his left temple. Suddenly, he screwed his eyes shut in pain. Oh, God. I never get used to that. What are you doing? Kiba asked as they left Naruto's apartment. Well, after removing my limbs, I need to reattach all the nerves and everything. Usually, I would have to form a few seals and use a technique to quickly attach them, but that's really hard when doing it to myself. That's why I've constructed this seal. Naruto said and pointed at the piece of paper stuck to his temple. It works like the technique, but it takes a little longer. It should be done in about 5 minutes. So, what did you do to it? I added X-ray. Naruto said with a grin. Kakashi-sensei probably won't be at the bridge in a few hours, so I'm going to the hot springs. Hokage's office. The Hokage stared at the shinobis present. Now, first we'll hear from those who are watching over the new Genins. He said as he looked at the 3 Jounins in the front. Kakashi, Kurenai, Asuma. Well. Are there any Genins you would like to enter into this Chunin selection exam? Kakashi put away his icha and raised his hand. I, Hada Kakashi, Jounin Sensei of Team 7, nominate my Genins, Uzumaki Naruto, Nara Shikamaru and Inuzuka Kiba, for the Chunin exams. He said and Kurenai followed. I, Yuuhi Kurenai, Jounin Sensei of Team 8, nominate my Genins, Hyuga Hinata, Abiram Shino and Akamichi Chouji, for the Chunin exams. Asuma was next. I, Sarutobi Asuma, Jounin Sensei of Team 10, nominate my Genins, Uchiha Sasuke, Yamanaka Ino and Haruno Sakura, for the Chunin exams. All of them however, Sarutobi said as he puffed on his pipe. Hold on a sec. Haruka exclaimed from the gathered crowd. What is it, Haruka? Hokage-sama. Please let me have a word. Haruka said with a strange crazy-looking expression on his face. I may be speaking out of my place, but most of these 9 were my students. Sure, they're talented, but they're not ready for the exams. They need more experience. I don't understand the Jounin's reasoning. Kakashi turned to Haruka with a raised eyebrow. Are you saying that my team isn't ready? That's exactly what I'm saying. Haruka exclaimed, making Kakashi snicker. Haruka Naruto has been through more than you and I put together. He's experienced more pain than most Chunins, maybe even Jounins. He's the one who actually saved me from Mamachi's Zabuza. My team is strong enough to take down 2 Jounins by themselves. During our training, Naruto has taken it upon himself to drill the real world into the other 2, giving them more than enough experience for this exam. I may not be speaking for everyone else, but my team would actually be able to take on the Jounin exams, should they want to. He said and stared Haruka dead in the eye. So don't come telling me that they're not ready. They're soldiers under my command and I would never put them through something that they're not ready for. Asuma and Kurenai sighed in unison. Hokage-sama. Asuma said as he raised his hand. I would like to withdraw my request. He said, making the eyes of everyone in the room widen. The team with the Uchiha wasn't going to go through the exams. Sasuke may be strong enough to go through the exams, but Sakura and Ino are not. Now that I really think about the dangers of the exam, plus, they have no sense of teamwork whatsoever. So, my team won't be participating in the exam. It's a pity. Kakashi said as he took out his trusty book. Sarutobi would have told him to put it away had he not been an avid reader of it himself. I would have wanted to see how the almighty Uchiha would fare against Naruto, the crippled dope. I would have wanted to see it too, but they're not ready. Asuma said as he put his hands into his pockets. Sarutobi turned to Kurenai. Kurenai. Do you want to withdraw your request? No, Hokage-sama. My team is ready. Alright then. Dismissed. Sarutobi said calmly, while inwardly jumping around in excitement. Yay. The paperwork for today is done. I get to read my precious icha. Team 7's meeting spot, the Bridge of Pervinus. When Kakashi arrived 3 hours late to the bridge, he was met by 3 strange sights. Shikamaru was laying on the railing, sleeping while balancing, dangerously close to falling into the river below. Hiba was on the ground, clutching his sides in pain while laughing his ass off. And finally, a bandaged and bruised Naruto sitting on the opposite railing with a look that said I got the living shit beat out of me by angry women during their time of month. While pecking his bionic eye with a kunai. "Ah no," Kakashi said with a sweat drop before raising his hand in a greeting. "Yo. You're late," Naruto said and winced as breathing made his chest hurt. "Ah no, I got lost on the road of life." "You've already used that excuse," Shikamaru, who was now awake, said as he sat up. I see, Kakashi said with the sweat drop on his head growing bigger before clearing his throat. Are you depressed about something, Naruto? Naruto looked at him while taking wheezing breaths. I realize that looking in the hot springs with my X-ray is not good if I'm standing right outside it PMSing women everywhere. Next time I'm gonna stand on the Hokage monument. Right, well, anyway, I've nominated you all for the Chunin exams. Kakashi said and took 3 slips of paper out of his pocket. Here are your application forms. Though this is just a nomination. Whether or not to take the exams is up to you. Those who wish to take the exam should sign the papers and be at the academy, room 301, tomorrow at 4 p.m. That is all. He said before disappearing in a poof of smoke. Naruto stared at his paper for a while before turning to his team. So what do you think, guys? Shikamaru scratched the back of his head. Mendakus, this exam will probably be hard, but I might become a Chunin if I win. If I become a Chunin, I'll be one step closer to retirement. How about you, Naruto? Well, I'm not taking it unless you're taking it, we're a team, right? I don't want to become Chunin if you don't become Chunin. Well said. Kiba said as he finally stopped laughing. So, meet you at the academy tomorrow? Yep. The next day. Naruto and his team walked through the academy, past the Genjutsu, which the Uchiha was stupid enough to reveal to the other Genins, and over to the door leading into the exam room. That Sasuke is an idiot, Shikamaru muttered, shaking his head, getting a nod from Naruto. Yeah. He could have kept the really weak ones from entering if he wanted to, but he had to show off. I don't think he was supposed to enter the Chunin exams. Kiba said, lowering his voice, in case anyone heard him. When Ka-san came home yesterday, she was furious. She walked around all night, grumbling about the Uchiha and about how the council was sucking up to him. As you know, she's a member of the council. She's not one of those arrogant wrinkled old prunes, right? Naruto asked, scrunching his nose up in disgust. Because, if she is, I never want to meet her. No way. Kiba exclaimed, grinning. The only reason my mom is in the council is because it's mandatory, being the head of the Inuzuka clan and all that. Oh, good. They got to the door, where Kakashi was waiting for them. Good. You're all here. Now, we can properly take the exam. What? Kiba asked, raising an eyebrow. The truth is that this test can only be taken by teams of 3. Kakashi explained, making Naruto grin. So, you lied to us again. Kakashi gave them an eye smile. Pretty much. He exclaimed, making his genin sweat drop. But that doesn't really matter, since you all came of your own free will. You guys are my proud team. Now go. Yeah. Naruto said with a smile, while Kiba grinned and Shikamaru gave off a smile of his own. They went through the doors and were introduced to a classroom packed with genins. Everyone, and I mean everyone, stared at them with menacing, I want to kill you eyes. Naruto raised an eyebrow, looking over the classroom. What? You all never seen a genin team before. Go fuck a kunai. Shove it up your ass and twist it. About half the genins turned away from Naruto, most of them blushing at Naruto's choice of words. The rest of the genins twitched. Boy, Shikamaru. Came the happy voice of Akimichi Chouji. Yo, Chouji. Shikamaru said, waving his hand as Chouji and his team, Aburam Shino and Hyuga Hinata, walked up. You're in this exam too. Make sure you don't die. I'll say the same to you. Chouji said with a grin, opening up a bag of chips and digging in. So, you're aiming for Chunin, huh? Naruto asked as he looked over Chouji and his team. Correct. Shino said, giving of the faintest of nods. Like morons like you guys could ever become Chunin. Came the arrogant voice of Uchiha Sasuke, making Chouji, Kiba, Shikamaru and Naruto groan. It's him, Naruto muttered and turned around to stare at the Uchiha, waving his hand. Yo. How's it going, Sasuke-chan? Shut up, you idiot. Sakura shrieked furiously. Don't call Sasuke-kun gay. Sasuke had ignored the insult and smirked at the others. Are you sure you guys are strong enough for an exam like this? I mean, it's not really something little kids like you can handle. Kiba grinned. Says the little pup who needed the council to pull a veto on the Hokage in order to get into the exam. I heard from my mom that your sensei didn't think you were strong enough. Watch it, dog boy, Sasuke growled and took a step forward, his hands clenched into fists. Suddenly, he stopped, looking down to find a kunai pointing at his nether regions, courtesy of Naruto, who was glaring at him. Take one more step towards my teammate, Sasuke, and you'll find that you won't be able to restore your clan, Naruto said, his voice dangerously low. Hey, you guys. You should be more quiet. Came a new voice, making them all look towards the source of it to see a silver-haired boy with glasses walking towards them. You guys are rookies just out of the academy, right? Screaming like schoolgirls, geez, this isn't a picnic. Who the hell are you? Kiba asked rudely, getting a smirk from Naruto. Well said. He said, making Kiba grin in return. Kabuto coughed slightly. I'm Kabuto. But instead of that, look behind you. Behind? Shikamaru asked as they all looked back to see that everyone were glaring at them once more. Those guys behind you are from a megacure, Hidden Rain. They have short tempers. Kabuto explained. Everyone is nervous about the exam. Quiet down before you cause a scene. Naruto grinned as he cleared his throat and started leaking his kai. I thought I told you all to fuck a kunai. Where's the kunai? The genins, who were surprised at the sudden kai attack, were quick to look away. Naruto turned back to Kabuto. Problem solved. Kabuto cleared his throat, trying not to stray too far from the scene he had rehearsed in his head. Well, I can't blame you. You're clueless rookies. You remind me of how I used to be. He said as he opened his pouch and started digging around. Kabuto-san, right? Sakura asked, getting a nod from Kabuto. So this is your second time? Nope, it's my seventh. This exam is held twice a year, so this is my fourth year. Then these exams must be really hard. Ino said, making Kiba grin. Either that or this guy is pathetically weak. Maybe both. Naruto said with a shrug, making Kabuto sputter before clearing his throat once more. Anyway, he said and pulled a bunch of cards out of his pouch. Allow me to share some info with you cute rookies. With these ninja info cards. Ninja info cards? Ino asked as Kabuto placed a deck of cards on the floor. They are basically cards which have info burned onto them with chakra. I have 4 years worth of info here. Over 200 cards, he said and flipped one over, placing it alone on the floor before placing a finger on it while his other hand formed a half-ram seal. They looked blank, but to open the info on these cards. What are you doing? Chaoji asked as Kabuto started spinning the card around. You can't view them unless I use my chakra, for example. There was a poof of smoke and when it cleared, the card displayed a map of the elemental countries. Wow, a really easy to read graph. What kind of info is this? Sakura asked, getting a smile from Kabuto. This is the number of those taking the exam and the breakdown of what country they are from. He explained as Sasuke stepped forward. Do you have cards with info on individuals? There are some guys you're worried about? Kabuto asked, smirking. Of course the info on all of this exam's participants isn't perfect, but I do have it. Even if you guys say something about these guys and I'll take a look. Tsubaku no Gaara, Gaara of the Desert, of Sunagakure, Hidden Sand, Rock Lee of Konoha, and Uzumaki Naruto of Konoha. Oh, you know their names. Should be easy then. Naruto smirked in Sasuke's direction. Hey, why would you want information on a lowly weakling such as myself? He asked, getting a glare from Sasuke. Kabuto shuffled the deck before pulling out 3 cards. Okay, first is Rock Lee. He's a year older than you guys. Mission history. D rank 20 completed, C rank 12 completed. His sensei is Mido Guy. His taijutsu has improved greatly in this year. The rest is nothing impressive. Last year, he gained the attention as a talented new genin, but he did not participate in the exam. Like you guys, this is his first time. On his team are Hyuga Niji and Tenten. He read before looking at another card. Next is Tsubaku no Gaara. Mission history. C rank 8 B rank 1. Wow, a B rank mission is a genin since he's a newcomer from a foreign country. I don't have much info, but it seems that he returned from all of his missions without even a scratch. Most of the genins were sweating at that point, except for Naruto's team as Kabuto looked at the final card. Finally is Uzumaki Naruto. Mission history. D rank 22 C rank 1, A rank 1. An A rank. Interesting, his current skills are a mystery to me since he was trained outside the academy, but rumor has it, he was trained by the Hokage after some kind of incident on his 7th birthday. Apparently, he single-handedly liberated Nami no Kuni, Wave Country, by blowing up the house of the businessman Gatu and at the same time killing Kurigakure, Hidden Mist, Missing Nin, Mamachi Zabuza. And his accomplice. Naruto said with a grin before turning to Sasuke. Did that quench your thirst for knowledge, Sasuke? Sasuke just glared at Naruto. Konoha, Suna, Aim, Kusa, Grass, Waterfall, Taki, Odo, Sound, many outstanding genins from the various hidden villages are here to take the exam. Well, Itagakure no Sado, Hidden Sound Village, is a small village just created last year, so there isn't much info, but the rest of the hidden villages are filled with talented youngsters. Them makes you lose confidence, Hinata mumbled, only for Kiba to grin and sling an arm around her shoulders. Don't worry, Hinata. We're from Konoha. We can handle anyone easily. So, basically all the people here are. Yup. Kabuto exclaimed with a grin. Like Lee and Gaara, they are the top elite genins from various countries. Naruto grinned. This is gonna be a blast. He exclaimed, getting the attention of everyone in the room. Alright, everyone. Just so you know. Fuck with me, and I'll kill you all. He's either really brave or very stupid, Sakura muttered, standing next to Shikamaru, who sighed. I'm sure he actually can back up his claim. Suddenly, a spiky-haired ninja appeared in the air above Kabuto, tossing two kunai and forcing him to dodge. Then, a bandaged nin appeared in front of him, swiping at him with an arm that was equipped with some kind of metallic device. Kabuto dodged easily, smirking. Then, his glasses cracked. What the? He thought before freezing, his eyes widening. Suddenly, he collapsed to his knees, throwing up. What the hell? Naruto asked, hearing a slight tingle in his ear. Megami, you heard that, didn't you? The attack's using sound, Megami muttered, nodding in her cage. That's gonna be somewhat of a bother, Naruto thought and walked up to Kabuto with the others. Oi, Kabuto-san, are you okay? Why yeah, I'm fine. Kabuto mumbled, nodding. How pathetic, especially because aren't you a 4-year veteran? Bandage said. Write this down on your cards. The 3 Odo ninjas, definite future Chunins. Spike said, smirking. Suddenly, Naruto appeared between the two, holding them both in a headlock with a kunai at each of their throats. Attacking a comrade of mine, he muttered, glaring at the two. That's something I just can't forgive. Suddenly, an explosion of smoke went off by the blackboard, shocking the genins. Quiet down, you worthless bastards. What's this? Came a roaring voice. The smoke cleared to show a heavily scarred man standing in front of a large group of Chunins. Thanks for waiting, I am Marino Ibiki, the examiner for the Chunin selection exam's first test. The scarred man said, before pointing at Naruto and the Odo ninjas. You guys. Stop doing as you please before the exam. Do you want to fail already? I apologize. Naruto said, grinning sheepishly. I guess I got a bit carried away. You know, all this bloodlust packed inside this little room. It's enough to get the blood rushing. Ibiki just glared. Here's a good opportunity to say this: there will be no fighting without the permission of the examiner. Even if permission is granted, killing your opponent will not be tolerated. Those pigs that disobey me will be failed immediately. Do I make myself clear? Naruto grinned. Crystal, Ibiki-san. Right, guys? He asked, looking down at the Odo ninjas, still in his headlock. Yeah. They both said, giving Ibiki a thumbs up. Naruto released them and walked over to Kabuto, helping him to his feet. Nice acting. He whispered, getting a small smile from Kabuto. Thanks. We will now start the first test in the Chunin exam. Instead of your current seating arrangements, Ibiki said and held up a small piece of wood with a number on it. You will pick one of these tabs and sit in the seat assigned to you. We will then hand out the exams. As they headed towards Ibiki, Kabuto whispered to Naruto. The point to this test is cheating. Thanks. Naruto whispered and looked to his teammates, using sign language to spread the word. The two nodded in acknowledgement. As they sat at their desks, Naruto was bored, reaching into his pocket to pull out a pair of mirrored sunglasses in preparation for the test, putting them on. Do not turn your tests over. Ibiki said, holding up a piece of chalk. Listen closely to what I'm about to say. He said and started writing on the blackboard. There are many important rules to this first test. I'll write it on the board while I explain, but questions will not be allowed, so listen carefully. The first rule. You guys will all start off with 10 points. The test is made up of 10 questions, and each one is worth a point, but this test uses a subtraction system. Basically, if you answer all the questions correctly, you keep your 10 points. But say if you miss 3 questions, you will lose 3 points and will have 7. The second rule: this is a team test. Whether you pass or not will be determined by the combined score of your teammates. So, each team will compete to see how many points they can hold on to from the initial total of 30. Wait a second. Sakura shouted. I don't understand this initial point system either, but why is it a team test? Shut up. You don't have the right to question me. There is a reason for this. Be quiet and listen. Ibiki said, narrowing his eyes. Okay, and the most important rule. The third rule is that during the exam, anyone caught by the testing officers doing sneaky activities, namely cheating, will have 2 points subtracted for every offense. Ibiki said, smirking in an evil-looking way. Realize that the pathetic ones that get caught cheating will be destroying themselves. As shinobis trying to achieve the level of Chunin, be proud ninjas. That settles it. The point is cheating. A proud ninja isn't exactly the most honorable man on earth, no. Naruto thought, getting a mental nod of agreement from Megami. And the final rule: those that lose all their initial points during the test and those that don't answer any questions correctly will be failed along with their 2 teammates. Ibiki exclaimed, shocking the genins. The exam will last 1 hour. Begin. Naruto immediately activated his eye, unnoticed by the examiners, and looked over to his teammates. Shikamaru had started writing on his own accord while Kiba was having some troubles. Naruto clicked his pen against the table a couple of times, a Morse code that they had invented the day before. Flashback. The genins were just about to leave the bridge when Shikamaru stopped them. Wait up, guys. he said, stopping his teammates as he pulled out 2 pieces of paper, quickly writing something down on both of them before handing them over to the two. Naruto took his and looked at it before raising an eyebrow. Morse code? I don't think you've studied enough, Shikamaru. This isn't Morse code. That's right. Shikamaru said, smirking. I already know Morse code, but so does plenty of other ninjas. In case we get cut off from being able to speak with each other, we will be able to communicate in a way that no one else will understand. Well, they'll understand it, but they won't be getting the right words. If my calculations are correct, the most common words used with this Morse code will translate to a bunch of profanities in the normal Morse. So if I were to tell you something, Kiba mumbled, and Naruto continued. Others would hear something like fuck those fucking fuckers. Pretty much. Shikamaru said with a smirk. Make sure to study. I will. Naruto said and pocketed the note. Thanks Shikamaru. Yeah, thanks Shika. Kiba said with a grin as he turned to leave. I better study right away, otherwise, it'll be forgotten by tomorrow. Flashback end. Kiba. Kiba looked over to Naruto and tapped his own pen against the table. What do I do? You have 4 eyes, Kiba. Use them. Kiba's eyes widened with realization as he picked up Akamaru and placed him on his head. Thanks. No problem, pal. Good luck, guys. Shikamaru tapped, making Naruto smirk. I don't need luck. I'm good. He activated his X-ray and zoom function, looking over the tests, finding the answers and copying them. Ibiki looked puzzled, knowing Morse code. Everyone else who'd heard were also puzzled, while Naruto and Kiba were grinning at Ibiki's look. When 44 minutes had passed, Naruto thought of something, and even though he'd already finished his test, he wanted to do it. Lose 2 points every time you get caught cheating, Naruto though, a smirk forming on his face. Hey Megami. I'm all for it, Naruto-kun. Megami said, grinning inside her cage. Naruto chuckled as he stood up, making the examiners look at him strangely. Can I help you? Ibiki asked, to which Naruto shook his head. Nah, I'm good. He said and walked up to a 20-year-old genin from AIM in front of him. A long-haired curvy genin with a C-cup. He leaned against her desk and stared at her paper before looking over at her. Hi. If you'll excuse me, I'll just take a little look at your paper. He said, pulling down his shades to wink at her. Ibiki stared at Naruto for a moment, blinking, then, he started shaking, both from anger and amusement. The examiners looked at him, unsure of what to do. Ibiki just nodded once, indicating that Naruto had been caught only once. Naruto just kept grinning and held out his hand to the staring woman. I'm Naruto, nice to meet you. The genin took his hand, smirking. Yutaka. You're pretty bold, you know that. So I've been told. This your first time in Konoha? Naruto asked, getting a nod from the genin. It is. Megami-chan. Megami's grin widened as she started pumping pheromones through Naruto's body. Yutaka felt her body heat up as her heart started beating faster. She involuntarily blushed while Naruto grinned. Then, after this exam is over, maybe I can take you out. You know, show you the many sights of Konoha. Yutaka's blush intensified as she found herself staring into Naruto's eyes. Ibiki cleared his throat, getting the attention of the two. Are you done? No. Naruto said as he straightened himself. But I'm guessing you're not gonna allow me to stand here all day. That's right. Ibiki said, narrowing his eyes. Back to your seat. Naruto groaned as he walked back to his seat, sitting down with a pout. As Naruto sat down, Ibiki looked out over the classroom. Okay, and now we will begin the 10th question. Now before we get to it, I'd like to go over the added rules for this question. Shock went through the genins as the door opened and the puppet user from Suna, who'd been to the bathroom, entered the room. And nice timing, Ibiki said, smirking. Was your doll playing beneficial? The puppet user twitched, surprised that he'd been caught. Just sit down, Ibiki said, and the puppet user complied. I'll now explain. These are the rules of desperation. First, for this 10th question. You must decide whether you will take it or not. Choose. Another Suna genin, a girl with her blonde hair tied in 4 ponytails, shouted. What happens if we choose not to? Ibiki chuckled darkly. If you choose not to, your points will be reduced to 0. You fail. Along with your 2 teammates. Everyone started to shout about how, of course, they were going to take it, but Ibiki interrupted them all. And now the other rule. He said, silencing them all. If you choose to take it and answer incorrectly, that person will lose the right to ever take the Chunin selection exam again. What kind of stupid rule is that? Kiba roared. There are guys here who have taken the exam before. Ibiki chuckled darkly again, only this chuckle was the kind one would use in front of someone when taking extreme pleasure in ripping their guts out. You guys were unlucky. This year, it's my rules. But I am giving you a way out. Those that aren't confident can choose not to take it and try again next year. He said, smirking at them all. Now, let's begin the 10th question. Those that do not wish to take it, raise your hand. Once your number is confirmed, leave. Naruto looked around and saw that Shikamaru was not in the least worried. It didn't matter to him if he remained a genin. But Kiba was fidgeting, clearly nervous. Naruto smiled lightly as he started tapping his desk. Relax, Keebs. Even if you'll have to remain a genin, you can still become clan head, no. Don't worry about it. Of course, everyone who knew Morse code just heard a bunch of profanities. Shikamaru laid his head against the desk, Kiba steeled his resolve, and Naruto leaned back, calm as ever. Several genins quit, causing their teams to quit as well. Then, when it seemed like no one else was going to quit, Ibiki spoke up. Alright, does anyone else want to quit? No one answered. Well then, to the 78 who remained, congratulations on passing the first test. Everyone froze, staring at him, shocked. Wait, what do you mean? Sakura asked, wiping sweat from her bigger than average brow. We already pass. What about the 10th question? Ibiki grinned in a friendly manner, which was strange, since everything about him was anything but friendly. There never was such a thing. Or, you could say that those two choices were the 10th question. Hey. Then what were the first 9 questions for? The blonde-haired Suna genin shouted. They were pointless then. They were not pointless, Ibiki said, letting out a chuckle. They had already served their intended purpose. He said, turning serious. To test your individual information gathering ability. That purpose. Naruto looked to the side to see Hinata staring at him, trying to find out how he did it. He grinned and pulled down his shades, jabbing his bionic eye with his pen. First, as the rules explained, success on this test is based on the whole team doing well. This puts pressure on each member not to mess things up for their teammates. Ibiki explained, looking over the genins. But the questions on this test were not the types that a mere genin could answer. Because of that, I'm sure most of the people came to the conclusion that to score points, you'd have to cheat. Basically, the premise of this test is to cheat. As cheating targets, we had 2 or so chunins who knew all the answers, mixed into the crowd. To help you guys out. Piece of cake. Naruto said, smirking. Ibiki chuckled and started untying his bandana. But those who cheat poorly fail, of course. He said and removed the bandana, causing many of the genins to recoil in fright. His head was covered with horrible burns, screw holes and scars. Because at times, information is more important than life. And on missions and the battlefield, people risk their lives to get their hands on it. Naruto raised an eyebrow. This guy has been through a lot. He thought, his respect for the man rising. A real veteran. If the enemy or third party notices you, there is no guarantee the info will be accurate. Ibiki said as he put on his bandana again. I want you to remember this. Important information in your hands can be a powerful weapon for your comrades and for the village. So, we had you gather information through cheating. This clearly separated those that did not have the right abilities. But I don't understand the final question. The Suna genin said, making Ibiki smile. But question 10 is the true purpose of this test. Let me explain. The 10th question, the take it or not take it decision, obviously, these were painful choices. Those who choose the latter fail along with their teammates. Those who choose to take it could lose the chance to ever take the test again. A true leap of faith. Naruto nodded to himself. It was a very good way to weed out those who couldn't take the pressure. How about these 2 choices? Say you guys become chunins, your mission is to steal a secret document. The amount of ninjas, their abilities, etc. is unknown to you. And, of course, there could be traps set all around you. Now, do you accept or not accept? Ibiki asked, turning serious once more. Naruto was starting to get pissed off. Was this guy bipolar? Because you don't want to die, because you don't want your comrades hurt, can you avoid the dangerous mission? The answer is no. No matter what the danger, there are missions you can't avoid. The ability to be courageous and survive any hardship, this is the ability needed to become a Chunin captain. Those who can't put their destinies on the line, who cling to the uncertain future of theirs always next year and then walk away from their chance, those pieces of trash who can only make such cowardly choices don't have the right to become a Chunin. That's how I feel. Those who choose to take it answered the tough 10th questions correctly. You will be able to survive any troubles you face in the future. You have made it through the entrance, first test of the Chunin selection exam is now finished. I wish you guys luck. Hell yes. We'll survive anything. Naruto exclaimed, pumping his left fist into the air. Ibiki noticed the scar around Naruto's elbow and smirked to himself. Uzumaki Naruto, interesting guy. Suddenly, something caught his eye and he stepped back just in time for a bowl of cloth to come flying through the window. 2 kunai flew out of the bundle of cloth and stuck to the ceiling, unfurling the cloth, revealing a purple-haired woman wearing a tan trench coat. On the cloth was the text, Second Exam Proctor Mitarashi Anko. You guys. This is no time to be celebrating. The woman, obviously named Mitarashi Anko, exclaimed. I am the examiner for the second test, Mitarashi Anko. The hard part starts here. Are you ready? She shouted and pumped her fist into the air. Ibiki came out from behind the cloth. Grasped the atmosphere. Anko blushed but looked around, raising an eyebrow. Then, she turned to Ibiki. 78. Ibiki. You left 26 teams. The test was too easy this time. Ibiki shrugged. This time, there are a lot of outstanding ones. He said, getting a scoff from Anko. Ah. That's fine. I'll at least cut them in half in the second test. She said, causing the genins to sweat. Then, when they saw her shiver and smirk, they almost freaked out. I'm getting excited. I'll explain everything tomorrow. Ask your Jounin senseis for the location of the second test. Dismissed. -1 hour later. Naruto, Shikamaru and Kiba were at Ichiraku Ramen together with Kakashi. Congratulations on passing, you three. Kakashi praised, smiling at the three. I must admit that I wasn't sure you'd pass, what with Ibiki being in charge of the first test. He has the reputation of being a sadist. He's the village's top torture and interrogation expert who focuses the most on psychological torture. They chose a guy like that to be the proctor. Shikamaru asked with wide eyes, before sighing. We got lucky. It wasn't luck. Naruto said, smiling. It was like he said, we got a choice, and we did what a Chunin would do. We took it, even knowing the consequences. Kakashi smiled at his students. I'm proud of you three. Once the second exam is finished, I'll teach you all something new. Ha! Kiba exclaimed, pumping his fist into the air. Sweet. Naruto said, patting Shikamaru on the back. Come on, you two. TCH, troublesome Shikamaru muttered, before clearing his throat. Hurrah. Naruto shrugged. That's better than nothing, I guess. So, Kakashi-sensei, where is the second test? Kiba asked, and Kakashi put a hand on his chin. Training area 44, 10 AM. He said, making Naruto raise an eyebrow. If we get there at 10, we'll be late, right? He asked, getting an eye smile from Kakashi. You'll be fashionably late. The three genin smirked at each other, even Shikamaru and Kakashi chuckled. Remember, a good excuse is everything. And with that, they started planning. The next day. At training area 44, 10 AM, Naruto, Kiba and Shikamaru came walking up to the gathered genin. They walked up to the rest of the rookie 9 and stood lazily at the front while the proctor glared at them. You're late and you missed the start of my explanation. Kiba waved, smiling. Sorry, I ran across a beautiful young lady on the way here. She asked me to dance for her and I did. Shikamaru was next, smiling lazily. Sorry I'm late. A bird died in front of me on the way here and I had to help the parents plan the funeral. Naruto was last, scratching the back of his head with a smile. Yeah, sorry. I got lost on the road of life. I took a right turn when I should have gone left and I fell down a cliff. Then, I had to climb all the way up. When I got up, I realized that I had ripped my clothes, so I had to go home and change. Anko's sweat dropped, glaring at them as her eye twitched. Kakashi's genins. The three nodded, all of them smiling proudly as they saw everyone staring at them strangely. Meanwhile, in the Hokage Tower, Sarutobi and the Jounin senseis were gathered, staring at Sarutobi's crystal ball. Sarutobi had, at Kakashi's request, checked on the second exam, and now, Kakashi was actually crying tears of joy. I'm so proud of them. Next, I'll introduce them to Icha. A loud no. Could be heard all the way to area 44. Anyway, Anko said, clearing her throat. Like I said, this is the forest of death. You'll soon find out why it's called that. Naruto snorted. Like that'll scare us. Anko smiled at him. You're spirited. Quicker than most genins could react, a kunai ended up in her hand and Naruto only had the chance to see the glint of steel before it sliced his cheek and Anko poofed in behind him. He could easily feel her assets being pressed against his back as she leaned against him. It's like you are quickly killed. She whispered as she licked up the blood flowing from a cut on his cheek. Spraying that red blood I love so much. Naruto shuddered and turned to Kiba, who was blushing, wide-eyed. Hey, Keebs, is it wrong for me to be turned on right now? Hell, I'm turned on right now. Shikamaru said, sighing. Troublesome women. Anko was about to say something when a kunai appeared in her hand and she turned around to see a woman with a straw hat holding out her thrown kunai with her tongue a freakishly long tongue. Here's your kunai. Why thank you. Anko said, smiling sweetly. But, don't sneak up behind me unless you want to die. The woman smirked, dropping the kunai to the ground as she retracted her tongue. No, I just get excited when I see red blood plus, you cut my precious hair, I couldn't help it. Sorry about that. Anko said as the woman walked back to her teammates. Naruto scrunched up his nose in disgust. How does that tongue fit inside her mouth? Looks like we have a lot of bloodthirsty ones in this test. Anko said, smirking. This should be fun. she said, reaching into her coat, taking out a wad of papers. Now, before we start the second test, there's something I have to pass out. You must sign these agreement forms. What for? Naruto asked as he took the paper she handed him. There will be deaths in this one, and if I don't have you sign these, it will all be my responsibility. Anko explained, chuckling. I'm going to explain the second test. Then, you can sign it afterwards, and then, each team will check in at that booth behind me. Anko pointed at a booth near the fence, where 3 bored-looking Chunin sat, obviously wanting to be somewhere else. I'll now explain the second test. Simply put, you will attempt the ultimate survival. Shikamaru sighed. Survival, this test sucks. Naruto and Kiba chuckled quietly at Shikamaru's attitude. First, I'll explain the area in which it will take place. Anko said and unfurled a scroll, showing a map of the forest. Around the Forest of Death are 44 locked gates. Forest, river, and a tower in the center. From the gates to the tower, it's around 10 kilometers. During the survival in here, you will be asked to complete a certain task. Using your many weapons and jutsu, you will compete in a no-rules scroll battle. Scroll? Naruto asked, raising an eyebrow. Yes. Anko said with a nod as she held out 2 scrolls. You will fight over these 2 scrolls, the heaven and earth. There are 78 people here, meaning 26 teams. Half, 13, will get the heaven scroll. And other 13 teams will each get the earth scroll. To pass this test, your team must make it to the tower with both scrolls. So, 13 teams will lose their scrolls, Shikamaru muttered. At least half the teams will definitely fail. But there's a time limit. Anko continued. This second test will last 120 hours. Exactly 5 days. 5 days? Yamanaka Ino exclaimed, wide-eyed. What about dinner? Choji roared, shocked. Shit, so loud, Shikamaru muttered, sticking his finger into his ear. You're on your own. The forest is full of food. Just watch out for man-eating beasts, poisonous insects, poisonous plants, etc. Anko said, smiling cruelly. And 13 teams passing is not likely. As the days go on, the distance to the goal will become farther and the time to rest will become shorter. And the area is crawling with enemies. You won't get much sleep. So, not only will some fail by losing the scroll, but some will die from the harshness of the course. She explained before holding up her hand. Now, I'll talk about what will disqualify you. She raised a finger. First, those that don't make it to the tower with both scroll within the time limit. She raised another finger. Second, those who lose a teammate or those who have a teammate killed. As a rule, there is no quitting in the middle. You will be in the forest for 5 days or less, depending on when you get to the tower. And one more rule, you must not look inside the scroll until you make it to the tower. What happens if you do? Naruto asked, getting a smirk from Anko. That will be a surprise for anyone who does. A Chunin will be asked to handle classified information. This is to test your trustworthiness. That's it for the explanations. Exchange the 3 forms for your scroll, then choose a gate to get ready for the start. Anko said, before grinning at them all. A final word of advice, don't die. Well, no shit, Naruto muttered as the Chunins in the booth covered it with a curtain. It's about time to exchange for the scrolls. One of them announced. Naruto and his team signed the forms, went to the booth, got an earth scroll, and then headed off, ready to enter gate 9, where an instructor was waiting, unlocking it. Why 9? Kiba asked, getting a grin from Naruto. It's my lucky number. Alright. Shikamaru said as he crouched down, drawing in the dirt. Did you all get the map memorized? He asked, getting nods from his teammates. Good. We'll zigzag to the tower, which gives us a better chance of finding other teams. From here, the tower is to the north. Now, we'll go in a line. Kiba, you're in front, scouting with your nose. Naruto, you're after him, using your zoom and X-ray, and I'll be last, ready to support you in case of an attack. Sounds good. But my eye drains my chakra rapidly. Naruto said, and Shikamaru nodded. I know, that's why Kiba is in front. You will turn your eye on and off, and if Kiba finds someone, you'll use your eye to see exactly where they are. Got it? We got it. Kiba said, nodding. However, who holds the scroll? Naruto takes the scroll, since he is in the middle. That way, it'll be harder for others to steal it. The second exam begins now. Was suddenly heard in the speakers, and the instructor opened the gate, allowing them to enter, which they did, speeding inside. After running for 30 minutes, Kiba tensed up, sniffing around. Naruto. Naruto activated his eye and looked around. There are 3 of them. He said, not turning his head, hardly even moving his lips. One on our right, one on our left, and one right behind us. Shikamaru spoke up. Let's take a break. He said out loud, and they stopped. I gotta talk to you guys. The 3 crouched down, turned to each other. How about now? Shikamaru whispered as Naruto folded out his cannon. Kiba slid 3 kunai from his sleeve, while Shikamaru already had one in his hand. Directly behind each of us. Naruto said calmly as a quarter of his chakra gauge was filled with wind chakra. Let's go now. The 3 quickly turned around, Kiba and Shikamaru launching their kunai, while Naruto fired his cannon. The blast of air flew through the bushes, slicing up a path of destruction. 2 screams were heard, signaling that Kiba and Naruto had as their targets. Naruto grinned as he saw blood pooling from where he had fired his cannon and turned to the trees behind Shikamaru. At least one of your comrades is dead. You have already failed the test. You have a choice right now. You can either come out here and give us your scroll, or you can run away and let us hunt you down. Trust me, running wouldn't work. All they got was silence, while Naruto turned on his eye to see the aim genin in the trees, contemplating it. Then, he reached into his pouch and threw a scroll at them, which Shikamaru caught with ease. Heaven. Shikamaru told the others, who nodded. You can leave now. Naruto told the aim genin, before his team took off towards the tower again. Kiba grinned as they took to the trees, jumping from branch to branch. This is sweet. It's been less than an hour, and we've already gotten the scroll we need. Now, the only problem is keeping both of them until we get to the tower. Shikamaru spoke, and Naruto nodded. I'm sorry, Shika, but we need to increase our speed. If we go at top speed from here, without running into any trouble, we should be there in less than an hour. It'll be troublesome, but I can speed up. The less time we spend in this forest, the happier I'll be. Through that. Kiba said with a nod, and all 3 picked up their speed. After 30 more minutes of running, Naruto stopped, looking around wildly as sweat broke out in his forehead. Whoa, stop. He ordered, and the others landed next to him. Kiba stared at him strangely. What's up, Naruto? There's something vile here, Naruto muttered and pointed east. There, he mumbled, and then pointed to the west. And there. Akamaru, who was inside Kiba's jacket, yipped, shaking. Akamaru senses something too. Kiba said as he sniffed around. I can also smell something, but it's not much. It's chakra, but it smells. Dirty? Naruto asked, getting a nod from Kiba. That's it. Let's rest for a couple of minutes. Shikamaru said as he sat down. They had stopped next to a flowing river, making Shikamaru sigh. We've strayed a little off course. He said and pointed to the northwest. If we follow this river, we should get to the tower. Naruto crouched down next to the river and stuck his hand in, before wiping it across his brow. That chakra coming from the east, it was demon chakra, he said, making the others go wide-eyed. How do you know that? Kiba asked, and Naruto sighed. I'm gonna tell you something that's considered an S-rank secret in the village, punishable by death if you reveal it to anyone else. It's your choice if you want to hear it or not. I'll keep it a secret. Kiba said, getting a nod of agreement from Shikamaru. Naruto took a deep breath before telling them. As you know, the Kyuubi attacked the village 12 years ago. The younger generation were told that my dad killed it, but that's a lie. He didn't kill the Kyuubi. He sealed it. However, the only thing that could contain the Kyuubi's power was a newborn baby whose chakra coils hadn't developed yet. And that baby was you. Shikamaru concluded, nodding, causing Naruto to blink in confusion. Shikamaru smiled. I always knew you had some kind of connection to the Kyuubi. I mean, your birthday is October 10th, the villagers hate you, and everyone always calls you demon. But I don't think you're a demon. I asked my dad about you once. The only thing he asked me was, tell me, Shikamaru, if you saw a prison holding a murderer, would you consider the prison a murderer? I didn't know what he meant back then. I guess he meant that you were the prison and Kyuubi was the prisoner. That's strange. Kiba said, blinking. My mom told me something like that. Only, she talked about a scroll and a sealed kunai. So, you're not ignorant like the villagers? Naruto asked, getting a grin from Kiba. I know for a fact that you're not a demon. First, you don't smell like that chakra from before, and second, you risk your life to save Kakashi and Wave. Besides, we've been friends for quite a while now. Even if you were a demon, I know you don't want to kill us. I'd say the same thing, but that'd be too troublesome. I'll just say, I feel the same way. Shikamaru said, getting a smile from Naruto. Thanks, guys. That means a lot to me. He said and got up. Well, let's go. Yeah. Minus 35 minutes later. Kiba grunted, getting the attention of his teammates. We've got a tail. Naruto chuckled and reached into his kunai pouch, taking out a scroll. It had the kanji for earth on it. He grinned as he dropped it, making the others go wide-eyed. What are you doing? Kiba hissed, while Naruto pulled out 2 other scrolls, one with the kanji for earth on it and the other with heaven. A trap. Naruto said as an explosion was heard behind them. Kiba stared at Naruto, wide-eyed. Naruto elaborated. When we headed away from the river, I made a fake scroll with an exploding note in it. As soon as someone picked it up, boom. You're evil, Naruto. Kiba said, grinning. Naruto grinned as well. I know. The three landed in front of the tower and Naruto scratched the back of his head. You know, maybe the ones behind us weren't chasing us. Team 7 quickly headed inside, not really wanting to think about it. They got to an empty room. Hey, it's empty, Kiba mumbled, getting a nod from Naruto. Your powers of observation are stunning, Keebs. Shut up, asshole. Look at that. Shikamaru said and pointed at wall at the far end of the room. High above them was a text. Naruto read it and raised an eyebrow. Without heaven, what the hell? He asked and pointed at a segment of the text. Words are missing there. This is probably about the scrolls. Shikamaru said, reading the text over and over. I think they are telling us to open up the scrolls. Naruto reached into his kunai pouch, taking out the scrolls. He handed one to Kiba and took a deep breath, preparing to open the scroll. Alright, open them. Shikamaru ordered, and the two ripped open the scrolls, screwing their eyes shut as if the scrolls were going to explode or something. The three slowly opened their eyes and stared at the scroll. They all recognized the inky patterns on the scrolls. These are summoning seals. Naruto exclaimed and threw away the scroll, while Kiba did the same, just in time for them to explode into smoke. The smoke cleared and the three genin stared. Iruka-sensei. Naruto exclaimed while the smiling Chunin in front of them grinned. Hey. Long time no see. What's going on? Kiba asked, still not really able to grasp the fact that their academy sensei had just appeared in front of them. Why the hell were you summoned? At the end of the second test, it set up so we Chunins meet up with the exam takers and I was allowed to be the one to greet you. Greet us? Shikamaru asked, getting a nod from Iruka, who picked up a pocket watch, staring at it. Wow, 1 hour and 36 minutes. That's a new record. He spoke, grinning. The second test all three of you pass. Congratulations. Ah. Kiba exclaimed, snapping his fingers. I get it. If we would have opened the scrolls during the test, you would have appeared. What were you going to do, sensei? You're sharp, Kiba. Iruka said, chuckling as he picked up the earth scroll, holding it up. As you may have figured out, this test's rules are set up to test your ability to perform missions correctly. So, if you were to break these rules and open the scrolls, what would have happened? Shikamaru asked, getting a smile from Iruka. Those exam takers would be put in a condition of unconsciousness for the remainder of the test period. Those were my orders. Hey, sensei. Naruto said, pointing at the wall. What's the meaning of the writing on the wall? Seems like there's a word missing. We can't figure it out. Ah. Iruka said and pointed at the text. I'm also here to explain that. Read it. This is the motto of the Chunin written by Hokage-sama. Motto? Shikamaru asked, scratching his head. This is becoming too troublesome for my tastes. Iruka chuckled. You haven't changed, Shikamaru. Anyway, the heaven in this paragraph refers to the human mind and the earth refers to the human body. He explained. If you lack heaven, seek wisdom, be prepared. That's basically, for example, if someone's weakness is his or her brain, gain knowledge and prepare yourself for the missions. If you lack earth, run in the fields, seek advantages. So, if someone's weakness is stamina, then it's saying that you must continue to train hard. And if you have both heaven and earth, you can succeed even the most dangerous missions. So, basically, all missions become safe and easy. I have to agree with Shika. Naruto said, scratching his chin. This is way too troublesome. Yeah, why say it like that? Kiba asked, glaring at the text. Why not just write, if you lack a brain, study. And if you lack strength, train. You three are annoying, Iruka muttered, groaning. I'm trying to teach you something here. He shouted, before clearing his throat. Anyway, the words that represent a Chunin. The person word from the scrolls goes there. The last sentence is these rules will guide a person's extremes. However, since you absolutely smashed the previous record by 4 hours, I don't think you lack neither earth nor heaven. However, train hard, get stronger, and advance through the ranks. Make our Hokage and the Hokages before him proud. The three genin saluted Iruka. Asu, yes, sir. I'm sorry for ever doubting that you'd get this far. Iruka said, smiling proudly. Now, go ahead and train, rest, eat, whatever you want. It's all in here. Food. Kiba and Naruto roared in unison as they rushed past Iruka, heading into the room behind him, while Shikamaru trailed behind lazily. Meanwhile, in another part of the tower, Sarutobi, Anko and the Jounin senseis were in front of a monitor, watching a tape that a Chunin had just brought in. Holy crap, Anko muttered as she stared at the tape, while Kakashi smiled with pride. On the tape was his team, waltzing into the tower without a scratch, 1 hour and 36 minutes after the exam started. They smashed the previous record by 4 hours. Asuma exclaimed, blinking. How the hell did they do that? They're just that good, Asuma. Kakashi said, feeling extremely prideful. How's your team doing there, guy? He asked, turning to his spandex-wearing rival. Have they finished yet? Kakashi. Your team burns with the fires of youth. They are a true inspiration to us all. Guy exclaimed while Kakashi just turned to him lazily. You say something. Ah. What a hip response, my youthful rival. Yosh. I shall work harder to show you that youth overcomes hipness. Skip, the end of the second exam. Naruto and his team stood with the other 18 genins that passed, in front of the Jounin senseis, the proctors, some Chunins and the Hokage. Sarutobi cleared his throat. First off, for the second test, congratulations on passing. I smirked and looked at Kakashi. Your team isn't too bad. Maybe they were lucky. But as long as my team is around, getting any further is impossible. Since, from now, it's all about real ability. Well, with youth, there are sweet times, and there are sour times, Kakashi? Kakashi just turned to Guy, staring at him lazily. Huh? You say something, Guy. I snapped and turned his back on Kakashi, clutching his fist. Not bad, my rival Kakashi, you're cool in that way, and it really gets on my nerves. Kakashi just looked clueless. Naruto looked down at Akamaru to see him shaking inside Kiba's jacket. He knew why. Gaara, the Sand Genin, wasn't far away and he was leaking demon chakra and bloodlust. Hey Red. Naruto said, getting the attention from the redeed. You know, you should keep that nasty chakra of yours bottled up. You're scaring the pup. Shut up. Gaara muttered while Naruto grinned. There's no need for such hostility. Just stop radiating that psycho killer vibe. Sarutobi almost groaned when he saw Naruto about to start a fight. So, he spoke up. Now, for the coming third test, but before I explain that, there's something else I'd like you to know. It concerns the true reason for this exam. Why do we have all the allied countries taking the exam together? To promote friendship among the countries. To raise the level of shinobi. I don't want you to be confused about the true meaning. This exam is Sarutobi said and paused dramatically, puffing on his pipe. A replacement for war among the allied countries. He said, shocking the genins present, save for Naruto, who had already been told a long time ago by Sarutobi. If you go back in time, the current allies were enemies who fought each other over who would rule. In order to prevent wasteful fighting, the stage that these countries chose for battle, that is the origins of this Chunin selection exam. Then, this isn't for Chunin promotions. Rock Lee asked, wide-eyed. It is a fact that this exam decides which shinobis have what it takes to become a Chunin. But on the other hand, this exam has another side, where each country's ninja risks their own life to protect their land's prestige. Prestige? Ino asked, getting a nod from Sarutobi. Watching this third exam will be leaders and influential individuals from many countries who make up the clients of the shinobi. And the leaders of the countries will also be there to watch each of your battles. If the strength of a country is clear, that country will receive more clients. And conversely, if seen as weak, they will lose clients. Sarutobi said and paused for a moment, letting the information sink in. And this will signal to potential enemy countries that our village has this much power. So, why will send a political message to the outsiders? But why? Kiba asked. Why do we have to risk our lives in battle? Surprisingly, it was Naruto who answered. Think about it, Keebs, would you rather have a couple of genins fighting each other, with around 100 deaths at most, or thousands of deaths in a useless war? Think of it as miniature wars. Sarutobi nodded. While that is true, the strength of the country is the strength of the village. The strength of the village is the strength of the shinobi. And a shinobi's true strength is born only through life-risking battle. This exam is a place to see each country's strength and to show off your own. It only has meaning because lives are at risk. And that's why those that have come before you have fought in the Chunin exam for this dream that is meaningful. But then why do you say stuff about it being for friendship? Tenten of Team Guy asked, looking thoroughly confused. I said it in the beginning, I don't want you to confuse the purpose of this. By losing life and establishing balance. This is the shape of friendship in the world of the shinobi. Sarutobi said calmly. Before we begin the third test, I will tell you one more thing. This is not just a test, this is a life-risking battle, with your dreams and your country's prestige on the line. I don't care what it is, just hurry up and tell us what this life-risking battle entails. Relax, Red. You in a hurry? Others may want to hear what Hokage-sama has to say. Naruto said, narrowing his eyes at the redeed. The Jounins and Sarutobi were shocked. Naruto never called the old man Hokage-sama. Sarutobi cleared his throat. Yes, I'd like to now explain the third test, but… Actually, cough, a new voice interrupted as a man blurred into view in front of Sarutobi, on his knees. I apologize, Hokage-sama, from here on, as the referee, will you please allow me, Jekuhei, to explain? By all means. Sarutobi said with a nod. The man stood up and turned to the genins. He looked sick, with bags around his eyes and a cough. Hello, everyone, I'm Hade. Before the third test, there's something I'd like you to do. Pei-san's disease is still plaguing him, I see, Naruto thought, frowning. It's a preliminary for the third test to decide who gets to participate in the main event. Hayate explained, coughing again. The first and second test may have been too easy this year. We have a bit too many people remaining. According to Chunin exam rules, we must have a preliminary and reduce the number of participants for the third test. As Hokage-sama indicated earlier, there will be many guests at the third tests, so the fights could take too long. We are limited in time. He explained and paused, letting the information sink in. So, anyway, those who are not feeling well, those who feel like quitting after these explanations, please come forward now. Since we'll be starting the preliminary immediately. After a couple of seconds of silence, Kabuto raised his hand. I'm going to quit. Hayate stared at him for a while, before looking at his clipboard. Iryakushi Kabuto-kun from the Leaf, right. You may leave now. Does anyone else want to retire? Oh, I forgot to tell you that, from now on, it will be individual battling. You may raise your hand based on your own judgment. No one else raised their hand. Well, since no one else wants to quit, let's begin. There are basically no rules. The fight continues until one of you dies, is knocked out, or admits your defeat. But when I decide that the winner has clearly been established, since we don't want to pointlessly increase the amount of corpses, I'll jump in and stop things. And the object that controls your destinies is. The hatch on the wall opened up to reveal a large scoreboard. This electric scoreboard will show the matchups for each battle. Now, this is sudden, but let's announce the two names of the first fight. The screen flickered to light and two names popped up. Uchiha Sasuke versus Mikado Yoroi. Hayate coughed. Will everyone except the two participants move to the upper level? Everyone, save for Sasuke and Yoroi, walked up to the stands where Team 7 met their sensei, who was leaning against the wall, reading his Icha. Yo, sensei. How's life? Good, Naruto. How's yours? Couldn't be better. With that, they turned their attention to the two combatants. The match ended quickly. Sasuke had stolen a move from Lee and used it to create his own move, which he called the Shirenden Lion Combo. Two new names flickered onto the screen. Tsubaku no Tamari versus Tenten. This match was a little longer. Tenten was a long-range fighter, just like Tamari. Tenten threw her weapons and Tamari blew them away with her fan. That's the way it went for 10 minutes before Tamari finally decided to end it, beating the crap out of Tenten. Tsuchi-kin versus Nara Shikamaru. This match made Naruto laugh. Shikamaru used his shadow to make Kin slam her head into the wall. Hyuga Hinata versus Hyuga Neji. This match pissed Naruto off to no end. How someone could do that to his own blood was beyond him. Neji kept talking about fate and kept mentally torturing Hinata. Naruto had to admit that Hinata was strong, though. Not physically, but mentally. Every time she got knocked down, she got up again. When Neji was about to strike her heart, the Jounins jumped down and stopped him. Neji spouted some nonsense about favoring the main house. Aburame Shino versus Abumi Zaku. The match was slightly brutal. There wasn't much fighting, but Shino sent his bugs into the pipes in Zaku's arms, jamming them. When Zaku tried to use them, the pipes blew up, taking his right arm and almost his left with them. I sympathize with that, Naruto spoke, rubbing his left elbow. Poor guy. Next was the battle of the fangirls, Haruno Sakura versus Yamanaka Ino. It was boring, to say the least. They just kept talking through the battle, threw some punches, talked some more, and then, it ended with a draw. Worst match ever, Naruto muttered, shaking his head. Next was Rock Lee versus Inuzuka Kiba. Kiba was quickly taken out. Even though he fought bravely, once Guy had given the permission, Lee had taken off his weights and proceeded to pound Kiba into unconsciousness. They looked at the screen and two new names appeared. Tsubaku no Kankuro versus Tsubaku no Gaara. Kankuro immediately raised his hand. I quit. Gaara, who'd been walking towards the stairs, glared at Kankuro before walking back to his spot. Akimichi Chouji versus Kanuta Dosu. This was an extremely quick match. Chouji used his Nikkiden Sensha and charged at Dosu, who jumped out of the way, causing Chouji to rush straight into the wall. Then, Dosu punched the inflated Chouji and flicked the sound amplifier on his arm, causing a shockwave to go through Chouji's body, immediately knocking him out. That leaves only one match. Uzumaki Naruto and Misumi Tsurugi, please come down here. Naruto jumped down along with his opponent, a masked Konoha ninja with glasses. Unlike Yoroi, even against little punks, I show no mercy. Tsurugi said calmly, gazing coldly into Naruto's eyes. I'll say it now, if I put my techniques on you, it's over. Give up immediately. I'm going to end this quickly. Naruto, to his surprise, started laughing. Clearly, you don't know me, asking me to give up like that. I'm telling you this. Give up. You don't stand a chance against me. Last match, begin. Hayate announced, and Tsurugi was quick to move. He immediately came at Naruto with a right hook, which was easily blocked by Naruto's left arm. Naruto blinked. What the he started, but got no further as Tsurugi's arm started stretching, wrapping itself around his arm. Then, within seconds, his whole body was engulfed in an elastic bear hug, courtesy of Tsurugi, who came up from behind, arms wrapped around arms and legs wrapped around legs. Then, Tsurugi's arm moved away from Naruto's right and wrapped itself around his neck. In order to gather information, my body has been altered to be able to fit into any space. Tsurugi informed Naruto, obviously smirking behind his veil. So, I can keep squeezing until I break your bones. If you don't give up, I'll keep squeezing harder. I don't know what kind of ninja tools you use, but you can't do anything like this. But try something funny, and I won't wait until you give up. I'll break your neck immediately. Hurry up and give up. The Konoha teams in the stands were staring in horror as they clearly could hear Naruto's bones creaking. Team 8 and 10 turned to Team 7, only to see them smirking. Then, they looked down at Naruto, seeing him break into a smirk as well. Well, rubber boy, Naruto said, struggling to keep his windpipe from getting crushed. You obviously don't know who you're fucking with. He roared and extended every single blade on his body. The knee blades, the shin blades, and the blades on his forearm, each of them piercing Tsurugi's rubber-like appendages. Tsurugi roared in pain and was about to break Naruto's neck when the former blonde ripped his left arm free from Tsurugi's grasp and moved to punch the rubber man, only for his claws to shoot out, piercing the man's face, killing him instantly. Naruto took a deep breath as the now limp man's hold on his neck loosened and he retracted all of his blades, letting Tsurugi fall to the ground. Leaning his head to the side, he heard some satisfying cracks from his neck and rubbed it. "Thank Kami, I thought I'd have to go see Chio again," he muttered to himself. Hayate coughed. "Winner, Uzumaki Naruto." Hayate announced and coughed into his hand before continuing. "Well, with this, the preliminary trials for the third test has been completed. Everyone, please come down here." The Genins got down from the stands and soon stood in front of Anko, Ibiki and Hayate. "To all of you who won the rights to compete in the third test in the Chunin exam, even though one is missing, congratulations to you all," Hayate exclaimed before turning to Sarutobi. "Well then, Hokage-sama, if you would please." "Yes." Sarutobi said and walked forward. "Well, now I'd like to start explaining the main test. As I told you before, in the main event, your matches will be seen by everybody. Each of you will fight to represent the strengths of your countries. I'd like you to show off all your powers with no reserves. Which is why the finals will be held 1 month from now. This break, as you might call it, will be for preparations." "What does that mean?" Niji asked, his face still that stoic Hyuga face. "In other words, in addition to informing all the various country lords and shinobi leaders, this is the time needed to arrange for the gathering of the event. And this is also preparation time for you examination students." "I don't understand what you're trying to say. What does it mean?" Dosu asked. "Basically, it's the preparation to get to know your enemy and yourself. It's the time period where you calculate your chances of winning by analyzing the data you accumulated during the trial competition," Sarutobi explained, puffing on his pipe. "The battles up to now had you fight as if you were in an actual combat situation with the assumption of fighting an unknown opponent. However, the final trial will not be like this. There are those who showed all that they can do already to their rivals. There are those who competed and were badly injured against a strong opponent. To make everything fair, the 1 month should be used by all of you to advance and improve yourselves. Of course, it'll be fine to rest your body as well. Well, I'd like yo dismiss you now, but there's something that has to be done for the finals before I can do that." "Oh, come on, you old monkey," Naruto exclaimed, groaning. "We've been here for a good long time and we want to go home." Sarutobi chuckled lightly. "Well now, don't get so excited. There are pieces of paper inside of the box that Anko is holding, so each of you take one piece." Anko held up a square box to show the genin what the old man was talking about. "Now, I'll come around, so wait your turn." All the genins reached into the box as it was handed to them and drew their numbers. Once they'd announced them, Sarutobi spoke up. "Alright, now I'll reveal to you the final tournament." "That's what we drew the numbers for?" Naruto asked, wide-eyed. "Now, Ibiki, show them the match arrangements." "Yes sir." Ibiki said and held up a piece of paper. First match. Uzumaki Naruto vs Hyuga Niji. Second match. Sabaku no Gaara vs Uchiha Sasuke. Third match. Rock Lee vs Aburame Shino. Fourth match. Sabaku no Tamari vs Kanuta Dosu vs Nara Shikamaru. "Well then, you're free to start planning strategies or resting as you like. With this, I'll dismiss you all, but are there any final questions?" Sarutobi asked and Shikamaru raised his hand. "Can I ask a question?" "Yes." Since it's a tournament, it would mean that there's only one winner, right? Which would mean that only one person can become a Chunin, doesn't it? No, that's not quite it. Sarutobi spoke, smirking. There will be judges, including myself, the Kazukiage, lords of various countries that will make mission requests and other ninja leaders who will be watching the final test. Throughout the tournament, these judges will be evaluating your abilities. Those judged to have the necessary qualities of a Chunin will be able to become a Chunin, even if they lose in their first match. That means that it's a possibility that everyone here will become a Chunin. Yes. But there's also the possibility that no one will become Chunin. To advance in the tournament means that you will have more chances to appeal to the judges. Did you understand, Shikamaru-kun? Sarutobi asked, and Naruto had to speak up. So, if you win the tournament, you get nothing? He asked, scratching his head. Other than the bragging rights, you get nothing. Correct? That blows. Well then, thanks for all the effort you exerted for these trials. You're all dismissed until a month from now. Sarutobi announced, and Shikamaru and Naruto felt a hand on their shoulders. They looked up to find Kakashi smiling at them. Congratulations, you two. Come on, we'll go to the hospital, get Kiba, and then, I'll treat you all to ramen. Sweet. Done. Ichiraku ramen. Man, Kiba muttered, content with just staring at his ramen. I can't believe I lost to that green freak. Don't worry about it, Kiba. He was possibly the strongest genin, save for Naruto and that Reed you could have faced. Shikamaru said, sighing. To be honest, I'd gladly trade with you. Naruto ignored them both and looked at Kakashi. You promised something before the second exam, didn't you? He asked, causing Kakashi to blink. I did. Kakashi asked innocently, putting a hand on his chin. Oh, yes. I did, didn't I? Ah, I promised to teach you all something cool. Yeah, you did. Naruto said, narrowing his eyes. So, teach us. Well, let's go to our training grounds. Kakashi said as he got up, pulling out his wallet. Yes, training. Kiba exclaimed, jumping off his stool, grinning widely, while Akamaru barked happily. Later, training ground 7. Alright, I was planning on waiting for a while before I showed you this little trick, but since you all did so well, I'm showing you this now. Kakashi said as he pulled 3 slips of paper out of his pouch. Can any of you, except for Naruto, tell me what these are? Biz Genin just stared at him. Paper? Kiba asked, making Kakashi smile. Good guess, but this is no ordinary paper. He spoke as he channeled some chakra into one of the cards, causing it to crumple. As you all know, there are 5 basic types of chakra elements: fire, wind, water, lightning and earth. These 5 elements are the foundation of all jutsu and the reason the 5 great countries are named as they are. Naruto, can you take over? Naruto sighed. Lazy ass, he said, before clearing his throat. Most people's chakra naturally lean towards a certain nature. The Uchiha, for example, were full of people with an affinity to fire, thus, they were exceptionally skilled with fire element jutsu. Those matched with wind are good with wind element jutsu, lightning with lightning element. I, for example, lean towards lightning, and thus, I am best at lightning element jutsu. Kakashi explained, before patting Naruto on the shoulder. Naruto here is a natural wind and fire user. You two, on the other hand, are zeros. We have no idea which nature your chakra leans towards. Which is why you'll need these. Naruto said and gestured for the papers. Kakashi nodded and held up the crumpled card. If you're lightning natured, the paper gets crumpled. Wind natured, it gets cut in half. Fire, it burns. Water, it gets wet. Earth, it turns to dust. It's a unique paper that reacts to even the slightest amount of chakra. It's made of the trees that are fed and nurtured with chakra for a long time. Channel some of your chakra into them and we'll know their natures immediately. Kiba and Shikamaru each took a piece of paper, staring at them. Then, they both channeled some chakra into them. Shikamaru's card had gotten wet and Kiba's had turned to dust in his hand. Well then. Shall we start? Earth nature and water nature manipulation training starts now. Kakashi said, smiling at the results. Naruto, wait here while I get these two started. Naruto nodded and sat down while Kakashi led the two to a nearby stream. Alright, your exercises are very much alike. He explained and reached down, picking up a small pebble and tossing it to Kiba. Kiba, your job is to build on that pebble. Kiba blinked, staring at the pebble, then at Kakashi. What? You're to use your chakra and pick up earth, adding layer after layer of dirt to it. Now, remember, you must add full layers. That way, the bigger the ball gets, the harder it will be, since you need to pick up more dirt. That's where your exercises are similar. Kakashi explained and turned to Shikamaru. Your job is similar, only you have nothing to start with. You must sit on the water and pick up a drop and build on it. Of course, Shikamaru muttered as he walked out onto the stream, sitting down in a meditative position. Leave the hard exercises to me. Oh no, Shikamaru. Kakashi said, smiling. Naruto will have the hardest exercise. He said and walked off. Good luck, you two. Naruto was sitting by a tree, using his wind chakra to levitate a leaf and cut off small pieces of it off. Good, you're training. Kakashi said with a smile as he walked up to Naruto, his icha in hand. Now, your exercise will be the hardest of all. I'm ready, sensei. Naruto said, standing up. Good, because you will be creating your very own jutsu today. Naruto's eyes widened. Kakashi elaborated, clearing his throat. Of course, you won't be starting from scratch. He said and formed a couple of hand seals before holding out his hand. A crackling sound was heard as his hand got covered in electricity. This is my one and only original technique which I'm intending on passing on to you, the Rikiri. I've heard about that from the old man. Naruto said, blinking, before looking up at Kakashi incredulously. You're gonna teach me that? Well, not really. You're not a natural lightning user. Kakashi said as the electricity died down. However, I did say you would be making your own technique, meaning, you will modify the Rikiri to fit your tastes. Naruto blinked. You mean? You can decide if you wish to create a fire or a wind version of it. Sweet. Naruto exclaimed, getting an eye smile from Kakashi. Now, you already know the Rasengan. That's good, because then, you know how to concentrate chakra to the palm of your hand. Wait, sensei. Naruto said and held up his hand, forming a Rasengan. In that case, a Rasengan is only chakra. Shouldn't I be able to mix my element into it? Kakashi smiled happily. Good, Naruto. I was hoping you'd figure that out on your own. However, not even your father could mix his chakra nature into the Rasengan since it requires great control. That's why I wasn't planning on telling you until you had better chakra control. Now, let's forget about that at the moment and start working on the new Rikiri, which probably won't be called that since it has nothing to do with lightning. Which chakra nature do you want to use? Wind is better for long distance or precise cutting. Naruto said as his Rasengan died down. The Rikiri focuses on punching holes through your opponents, so I'm gonna go with fire since that resembles lightning a little. Good, fire it is, then. Kakashi said, nodding. Well, you saw the seals I used. Yeah, ox, rabbit, monkey. Naruto recited, getting a smile from Kakashi. Good. Now, ox and rabbit are natural lightning seals, meaning, lightning jutsus work better when used with those. Exactly, and that also means. Naruto thought for a moment. It means that, if I want to use fire, I should replace them with dragon and tiger, which are natural fire seals. No wonder Hokage-sama never complained about having you as a student. Kakashi said, patting Naruto on the shoulder. You're a natural. Now, perform the hand seals to help gather fire chakra into your hand, expand the chakra around your hand, and work until you can form the chakra into a cone or a drill. Naruto nodded and was about to perform the necessary hand seals when Kakashi stopped him. Naruto, wait. There are a few more things I need to bring up. Naruto looked at Kakashi expectantly. Kakashi just took out a scroll, opened it and unsealed another scroll, this one much larger. I want you to sign this. Kakashi said and handed the scroll to Naruto, who opened it. A summoning scroll. Naruto asked as he looked at the content to see 4 names written in it. Haddock Bakushu, Haddock Bakken, Haddock Sakumo and Haddock Kakashi. This is. The dog summoning scroll has been in my family since it was created. Kakashi said, still smiling. I want you to sign it, along with Kiba and Shikamaru, once they have enough chakra. But this is a family summon. I can't accept this. Kakashi just waved him off. No. I want you to have it. I doubt that I will ever have any children, since I'm not really father material. I intend on passing my knowledge over to you 3. Naruto smiled at his sensei. I'm honored, sensei. He said and bit his thumb, writing his name in the scroll with blood before placing his fingerprints below it. Now, try to summon. The seals are boar, dog, bird, monkey and ram. Naruto nodded and bit his thumb again, swiping some blood on the palm of his hand and performing the seals, before slamming his palm to the ground with a cry of Kuchiya's no jutsu. There was a poof of smoke, and when it cleared, a small brown pug, wearing a blue vest, appeared, staring lazily at Naruto. Yo, youngster. What's up? Naruto, this is Pakken, one of your cute new ninja dogs. The Ninken pack are great for tracking and also attacking your enemies from underground. Oh, you gave the scroll to someone new, Kakashi? Pakken asked, and Kakashi nodded. Yup. This is Naruto, my student. And once they have big enough chakra reserves, I will give the scroll to my 2 other students, Shikamaru and Kiba. Pakken hummed before nodding. Alright, that makes sense. He said and waved at Naruto. Good to meet you, Naruto. Summon us anytime you want. I'll tell the others. Alright, thanks Pakken. Naruto said with a smile, and Pakken disappeared in another poof of smoke. Now, one other thing. Kakashi said, his smile dropping as he turned serious. The Rikiri and Rasengan are assassination jutsu. If I ever find out that you have used them on another Konoha ninja, I will not hesitate to kill you for it. Don't worry, sensei. The old man has already told me that about the Rasengan. Naruto said with a smile. However, he also told me that I am allowed to use it on other Konoha ninjas if they attack me, and I have no other choice. Well, I thought that was a given. Kakashi said, his smile returning. As long as you don't use it in cold blood on a comrade, I won't keep you from using it. Now, get to work. Asu. -1 week later. Sarutobi was sitting in his office, doing his paperwork and smoking his pipe peacefully when the door was slammed open and his last loyal student stepped inside. Tsunade wasn't really a missing nin, but she had declared that she wanted nothing to do with Konoha, thus leaving Jiraiya as the last loyal student of the Sandaime Hokage. Jiraiya? What are you doing here? Sarutobi asked calmly, but perked up when he saw the triumphant grin on his student's face. You released a new book? He asked, a tiny bit of hope in his voice. No, sensei. I've done something better. Jiraiya said, puffing out his chest with pride. Who tell? I found her. Who? Kushina. Sarutobi's pipe fell from his mouth. What? Where? Jiraiya grinned, obviously proud of himself. It wasn't easy, you know. I only got a lead a couple of days ago, and I had to pull a lot of strings to just find out where she was a week ago. Well, where is she? I don't know. Jiraiya said with a shrug. I had to write a letter and give it to one of my contacts, and he would make sure she got it. Well, what did you write? I asked her to come to Konoha for the Chunin exams and that we had some very interesting genin this year. You didn't ask her if she hated Naruto? Jiraiya sighed. If I did and she actually hates Naruto, then I doubt she'd come if I'd asked her that. I gave her a date and it's up to her whether she wants to come or not. If she doesn't, I will find her and talk to her face to face. Sarutobi sighed as he picked up his pipe. Let's just hope that she comes. Jiraiya nodded, sitting down to give his monthly report. -1 week later. Alright, let's stop for now. Kakashi said, staring at the molten rock in front of him. You're doing great. It's not hot enough. Naruto said, panting as he stared at his aching right hand. And the chakra burns me as well. Kakashi nodded and walked up to Naruto. It's true that you need to work on it some more, however, you're making great progress. Now, on the other hand, we need to get to another stage in your training. Another stage? Naruto asked, getting a nod from Kakashi, who took out 4 metal rings. Yup. Having destructive powers means nothing if your enemy is fast enough to block or dodge it. Therefore, we will be training your speed. Yo, Naruto. Came Kiba's voice, making them turn around. Yo, Kiba. How's training? Awesome. Mom's teaching me a new technique and she's training my speed. Hey, Kiba, I've been thinking. Naruto said, scratching his head. I've heard you talk about your mom a lot, but never your dad. What's up with that? Kiba scoffed. My dad? He left the village when I was 3. How come? Kakashi asked, also taking an interest in the conversation since he'd wondered why Inyazuka-tsune was single. Well, dad just married her to get a clan status. Later, mom found out, fixed him with one of her glares, and he bailed. He hasn't set foot in Konoha ever since. Your mom sounds scary. Oh, she is, Kiba said as he shuddered. You have no idea. Naruto, put these on. Kakashi said as he handed over the metal rings to Naruto. Put them around your wrists and ankles. Naruto nodded and took the rings, putting them on. Kakashi put his hands in the ram seal and Naruto was sent eating dirt, feeling like a mountain was attached to his wrists and ankles. What the hell? This is too heavy, sensei. Naruto roared and Kakashi just smiled. You're going to have to get used to it since once you've added weight to those things, you can't remove any. You lazy perverted bastard. Kakashi just kept smiling, taking out his icha. -1 week later. Sarutobi was once more doing his paperwork, which never, ever, seemed to end, when the door opened, revealing a woman with long, blood-red hair that reached down to her waist, dressed in the navy blue clothes of a Konoha ninja, only without the vest or a headband, followed by a girl, who looked to be around 16, with blood-red hair that was tied in 2 pigtails. She had a few streaks of blonde going through her hair, and she wore the same kind of clothes as the old woman, only they were a little baggy on her. Sarutobi smiled at the woman. Kushina, you're back. I take it you got Jiraiya's letter. I got it and I'm sure it's about that demon who dares take the form of my son. Kushina said, narrowing her eyes at Sarutobi, who sighed. He's not a demon, Kushina. He never was and he never will be. He said, before looking towards the younger woman. And I'm sure you have told little Taki-chan here of what a horrible demon Naruto-kun is. Don't mention his name. Taki said, growling. He's making a mockery of my little brother. Why isn't he dead? Because he is not a demon, which I have told this village for the last 13 years. Of course, no one believes it. I never thought that you, Kushina, of all people, would doubt Minato-kun's sealing skills. Was this the only reason you wanted me back? To see that the demon is still alive? Kushina asked, making Sarutobi narrow his eyes. The reason I called you back was because I wanted you to see that he isn't the demon everyone claims he is. And you can be sure that I won't allow you to leave this village until you see that. I could have easily marked you as a missing nin any time during these years, but I didn't. However, if you leave again, I will see to it that you cannot rest, always having to look over your shoulder for hunters. Kushina narrowed her eyes at the old man. I could go to the council. Only the civilian council hates Naruto-kun, Kushina-chan. Sarutobi said, smiling sweetly. And they have no say in shinobi affairs. This isn't over, old man. Training ground 7. Hey Naruto. Kakashi said as Naruto had just melted another rock. Naruto turned around and saw Kakashi holding out a black bundle of cloth. Naruto took it and raised an eyebrow. You gave me a tank top? He asked, getting a hidden grin from Kakashi. With a built-in face mask. He exclaimed, smiling. It'll make you look more mysterious, and most people would do anything to see what's underneath it. Thanks, I guess. Naruto said, taking off his tank top to put the other one on. But why, though? Kakashi smiled. Well, you have the scar over your left eye and all I've always wanted a mini-me. Naruto's sweat dropped. Then, he recovered and grinned. In that case. He said and pulled down his headband to cover his eye. Kakashi just smiled. By the way, you're going to have to train by yourself for the rest of the week. Kakashi spoke, making Naruto look at him. Kakashi scratched the back of his head sheepishly. Yeah, I kinda have to train Sasuke for the exams. I don't want to do it, but the council has found some way around Hokage-sama and has ordered me to train him due to my Sharingan. I won't teach him much, though. I promise. You better not. Naruto said, narrowing his eye at Kakashi, who smiled as he walked away. Naruto got back to channeling his chakra into his hand when he felt a new presence behind him. Quickly turning around and pulling a kunai out of his pouch, he threw it at the bushes, only to hear a clang as it was deflected. Now, there's no need for that. Came a voice that he recognized. I know you. Naruto said calmly. Dosu, right. A chuckle was heard and the bandaged ninja came out of the bushes. Indeed. You are Uzumaki Naruto-kun, correct? You know I am. Yes, I do, but I felt it was appropriate to ask. Dosu said as he walked over to Naruto. I have a proposition for you. Oh? What might that be? I couldn't help but notice that, in the second test, you seemed very close to Hokage-sama. And I want to meet with him. Dosu said, knowing that it was near impossible for a foreign ninja to meet with a Hokage. I wish to defect from Itagakure no Sado and join Konoha ranks. Naruto stared at Dosu for a while, before nodding. I'll take you to him, but don't think you'll be alone with him for a second. I expected nothing less. Dosu said, nodding. Later, Hokage's office. Sarutobi stared hard into Dosu's one eye while puffing on his pipe. Dosu and Naruto both sat in the two chairs in front of Sarutobi's desk. Well then, Kanuta Dosu-kun, Naruto-kun here tells me that you wish to defect from Odo. That's correct, Hokage-sama. Dosu said with a nod. You may or may not know that Orochimaru is the Odakage. I knew that already. Sarutobi said, nodding. Continue. Yes, Hokage-sama. Orochimaru claims that he wishes to help us. Nearly everyone in Itagakure is an orphan and he offered us an escape. However, only now do I realize that we were nothing but pawns for him, which I realized when Orochimaru ordered us to kill Uchiha Sasuke in the Forest of Death. However, he never told us that he had given Sasuke his curse seal. And now, after my teammates failed the second test, they have mysteriously disappeared. I believe that he may have killed them, and if you would let me become a Konoha ninja, I will happily tell you everything I know about Odo. Sarutobi stared hard at Dosu for a few moments, making the Odo genin sweat. Then, he turned to Naruto, who had been staring intently at Dosu. Well, Naruto-kun. He didn't lie. Well then. Sarutobi said as he turned back to Dosu. Tell me what Orochimaru plans to do in Konoha. -1 week later. Naruto, Lee, Shino, Shikamaru, Niji, Sasuke, Gaara and Temari stood in the Konoha Stadium with a Senbon chewing proctor in front of them. Naruto looked around and noted something. Hey, Shika, that Dosu isn't here. I've noticed. Shikamaru said, nodding. The proctor turned his head towards them. Hey, stop looking around. Face the customers. In this main tournament, you guys are the stars. Thanks, everyone, for coming to the Hidden Leaf Chunin selection exam. Sarutobi announced, now standing up in the cage box. We will now start the main tournament matches between the 8 participants who made it through the preliminaries. Please stay and watch until the end. The proctor turned to the Chunin hopefuls, reaching into his vest and taking out a piece of paper. "There's something I'd like to tell you before the matches. Look at this. Uzumaki Naruto vs Hyuga Neji. Tsubaku no Gaara vs Uchiha Sasuke. Rock Lee vs Aburame Shino. Tsubaku no Tamari vs Nara Shikamaru. There have been some minor changes to the tournament." Boy, Naruto said, getting the attention of the proctor. "Yes. Sasuke isn't here yet, what are you gonna do? If he doesn't appear by the time of his match, he'll receive a default loss," the proctor said before clearing his throat. "Alright, guys, this is the final test. The arena is different, but the rules are the same as in the prelims. There are none. You fight until one of you dies or acknowledges defeat. But if I determine that the fight is over, I'll step in and stop it, you got that? Now, the first match, Uzumaki Naruto Hyuga Neji. Those two stay here while the rest of you go to the waiting room." Shikamaru leaned in towards Naruto as he was about to head up. "He's a Hyuga. Though he can see almost 360 degrees, if you make him mad or distracted, focusing on one spot, he'll be blind to everything else," he whispered, getting a grin from Naruto. "Thanks," Naruto said, and Shikamaru just nodded before heading up to the competitor's box. Soon, Naruto and Neji were alone with the proctor, facing each other. Neji smirked as he activated his Byakugan. "Let me give you a piece of advice. Surrender. Fate has decreed that I win," he said, only to find that Naruto was looking up at the sky. "Hey." Naruto looked at Neji, looking clueless. "Huh? You say something." In the stands, Guy and Lee cried, spouting about Hypnos, while Kakashi, somewhere, felt very proud. "Now, the first fight begin," the proctor announced before jumping away while Neji got into the Gyuukin stance. "You're confident about close-quarter combat, right?" Naruto asked calmly as he made a cross-shaped hand sign. "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." But the poof of smoke, 10 exact copies of Naruto appeared, all looking lazy. Suddenly, the 10 Narutos charged at Neji, who smirked as he proceeded to quickly dispel the clones, who all looked like they were trying their best to hit him. Up in the stands, Kiba was sitting between his sister, Hana, and his mother, Tsume. "He doesn't look like much, Kiba," Hana said, not looking impressed. "You'd think that, after everything you've said about him, he'd be able to take care of one genin." Tsume agreed, while Kiba smirked. "He got you too, huh?" he asked, getting puzzled looks from his family. "Don't you see? It's perfect. He's acting weak so that Neji will underestimate him. I'm sure he already has a plan that will win this fight, he just plans to humor Neji a little first." Tsume scoffed. "I'll believe it when I see it." Naruto stared as his clones were dispelled and the memories were returned to him. "Yes, well I believe I have to," he muttered, more to himself as he crossed his fingers again and created 30 clones this time. "You all know what to do." The clones nodded and charged, while Neji did as well. Soon enough, the clones were all dispelled and the crowd was getting bored. "You're persistent, aren't you?" Naruto asked, while Neji smirked. "It's over now, drop out," Neji said as he dropped into another stance. "You're within field of my divination. Haki. Rakujuai Onshu." Neji charged and slammed his fingers into Naruto's body. "Nishu. Yonshu. Hachishu. Jirakushu. Sanju Unishu. Rakujuai Onshu." Naruto's body was pelted with Neji's finger stabs of doom, closing off his Tenketsu while sending him flying. Up in the stands, Kushina and Taki were smirking, seeing Naruto in pain. "Serves him right, don't you think?" Kushina asked, getting a nod from Taki. "Yeah. I never thought I'd actually find satisfaction in seeing someone in pain." "You're not seeing someone in pain," Kushina said, and Taki nodded again. "Right. I'm seeing something in pain." The people around them, who'd seen Naruto for what he was, looked disgusted as they moved away from the two, while secretly wondering if they sounded that bad during their periods of hate. Neji smirked at Naruto's prone form. "See? You cannot escape your destiny." Naruto groaned as he struggled to his feet. "Why are you going on and on about destiny and fate?" he asked, turning to glare lightly at Neji. "Fine, I'll humor you," Neji said, his smirk dropping as he untied his headband. "Let me tell you, drop out, about the Hyuga's curse of hatred," he said and removed his headband to show a seal in his forehead. "The Hyuga main family has a special ninjutsu that's been passed down. It's a curse seal jutsu. The curse of the mark represents a bird in a cage. It is the symbol of being tied down to an inescapable destiny. One day, when I was 4, I had this horrible seal carved into my forehead through that curse seal jutsu. That day, a grand ceremony was taking place in the Leaf. A shinobi leader from Kumo, which had been warring with Konoha for years, had arrived to sign an alliance treaty. But at this ceremony, which everyone attended, from Jounin to Genin, one clan was missing. That was the Hyuga clan. Because that was the important day that the Hyuga heiress turned 3. Hinata-sama's 3rd birthday. My father, Hyuga Hisashi, and Hinata-sama's father over there, Hyuga Hiyashi-sama, were twins. But Hinata-sama's father, Hiyashi-sama, was born to this world first, a member of the main family. And my father, the second son, became a member of the branch family. When the Hyuga first daughter grew and became 3, I was turned into the bird in the cage through this curse. As a Hyuga branch family member. So you're pissed because you got a tattoo when you were 4? Naruto asked, making Neji growl. This mark on my forehead is not simply a decoration. This curse seal is the absolute fear of death given to the branch families by the main family. With a secret hand seal, the branch member's mind can be easily destroyed. Death is just as easy, of course. Neji said, never breaking eye contact with Naruto, who stared back, just as calm. And this curse will only disappear after death. Sealing up the ability of the Byakugan along with it. The Hyuga house is a clan that holds great advanced blood. Those that go after those secrets are incalculable. So, with this jutsu, the branch family is allowed to live only to protect the main family. No disobedience is allowed by the main family. It's an effective system, created to eternally protect the advanced Byakugan blood of the Hyuga. And that incident occurred, he explained, closing his eyes. Oh, no incoming sob story about how he suffered more than the rest of us, Naruto thought and almost groaned, but kept his composure. Neji opened his eyes again, glaring. My father was killed by the main family. One night, Hinata-sama was taken by someone. Then, Hiyashi-sama quickly took care of it and killed him. It was dark and he was wearing a mask. Who do you think it was? The Kumo ambassador. Naruto guessed, surprising Neji. I read about a Hyuga incident involving him and that's the only Hyuga incident I've heard about. Please, continue, oh tortured soul. Neji glared but continued anyway. Yes, it was him who had just signed the alliance treaty. It became clear that he was here after the Hyuga secrets from the beginning. But Kumo, with one of their leaders killed in the failed plan, made demands of Konoha for breaking the alliance. Of course, Konoha and Kumo bickered back and forth. It almost came to war. But with Konoha wanting to avoid war, they made a backdoor deal with Kumo. Kumo wanted the Hyuga main family's advanced blood and the Byakugan. They demanded the corpse of Hiyashi-sama. And Konoha agreed to their wishes. And war was safely avoided thanks to my father, who was killed by the main family to replace Hyuga Hiyashi's corpse. To escape this horrible curse, there's no method but death. They were twins, their strength was virtually the same. Firstborn second destiny was decided just by that. And this fight, your destiny was decided the moment I became your opponent. Your destiny is to lose to me. That's it? Naruto asked, blinking. That's your reason for being in a constantly pissy mood? Of course. You can't talk, drop out, because you don't know what it's like to carry a seal that can never be removed. I can tell you 2 things in what you've said that are wrong. The first is the part of me losing to you. My blood is on you, and my sensei taught me a very neat trick. Neji didn't even have time to react before 2 dogs burst from the ground, biting down on his ankles, while 2 others came up, biting his arms, Hakan bit his chest, and a huge bulldog came up from behind and bit him in the shoulder. Meet my very cute Ninken. Naruto said, smiling. They were prepared to fight you, so they laced their teeth with chakra, much like your Gyuukin. Neji was surprised to find that, when he tried to use chakra, nothing happened. Naruto smirked as he pulled down his mask and gripped his shirt. Now, spoiled brat, let me tell you about my curse of hatred. Naruto said and took off his shirt, revealing a heavily scarred body. It was riddled with slashes, burns, stabs, everything. But what stood out the most was the seal on his stomach. Since you were kind enough to give me a small history lesson, let me give you one. He said and cleared his throat. Now, 13 years ago, this village was relatively peaceful. Then, one day, the Kyuubi no Yauko, the strongest of the Bijuu, attacked. The villagers didn't know what to do. They stood no chance against the mighty demon. However, rescue came in the form of the late Yondaime Hokage, Namikaze Minato. Neji scoffed, despite the pain he was in. I know that already. Oh, I'm not done yet, Neji. The Kyuubi is the strongest of all demons. No mere human could ever hope to kill it. So, the Yondaime came up with another method. He took a child who was born on that very day. A child whose chakra coils hadn't been developed yet. He took the child and he brought it out on the battlefield. Then, he performed a jutsu, a forbidden one, to summon a being even greater than the Kyuubi. That being was Shinigami-sama himself. The Yondaime paid Shinigami-sama with his soul to seal the demon into the child in his arms. That child was me, Neji. Naruto explained, making Neji and everyone of the younger generation, save for Kiba and Shikamaru, go wide-eyed. The Yondaime's final wish was for me to be seen as a hero. However, his wish was completely ignored. My mother, she saw me as a demon, took my sister, and left the village. Of course, the villagers also saw me as a demon, and to protect me and make sure that I could make friends, the Sandaime Hokage made the sealing an S-rank secret, punishable by death. Only the Hokage and I have the authority to reveal it. But I'm getting off topic. The villagers saw me as the Kyuubi, like I said, and did everything in their power to make my life a living hell. You complain about a seal that's hardly ever used on you. Tell me, Niji, have you ever been beaten to within an inch of your life on a weekly basis? Has anyone poured oil on your body and lit it on fire? Has anyone ever sawed your limbs off with a kunai? Niji was speechless, and so was the crowd. Naruto grinned. So, stop being a bitch, smile every once in a while, and believe that there is something good out there, or you'll go mad. Now, he said and took out a kunai, walking up to Niji, putting it to his throat. Forfeit, or I won't hesitate to take your life. Never. Niji muttered, while Naruto sighed. Proctor. Hyuga Niji is unable to continue the match. Winner, Uzumaki Naruto. The crowd was quiet. Naruto didn't care, though. He just walked away, picking up his shirt and dismissing his ninkin, letting Niji fall to the ground in disbelief, activating the Byakugan again. Impossible. Not only did he summon those animals without me seeing them here, he opened his Tenketsus. Then, the crowd broke into wild cheers, overcoming their shock. Naruto was surprised at this, but kept walking anyway. In the stands, Kiba grinned at his stunned family, while the one-eyed, one-eared partner of Tsume, Kuramaru, chuckled lightly. Impressive kid. To withstand all that and to top it all off, he summons the dog pack. They've never accepted anyone other than the Haddock family as their summoners. And that seemingly endless stamina of his, he could be mate material. Tsume, Hana. The two Inyazuka females blushed. The proctor hummed, looking around. It appears that Uchiha Sasuke isn't here. We'll have no choice but to. He was interrupted when, in a swirl of leaves, Kakashi appeared, along with Sasuke. Kakashi looked up. Are we late? Their student was almost disqualified. The proctor said, getting a smile from Kakashi. He's not my student. He said, before disappearing with another swirl of leaves. Well, Sabaku no Gaara, can you come down here, please? The proctor asked as he sighed, wanting to do nothing but go home and get some sleep. Sleep was good. As Gaara appeared in the arena with a swirl of sand, Kakashi appeared in the competitor's box, next to Naruto, who was keeping his distance from the others, who were on the other side of the box. Yo, Naruto. How was your match? He asked, getting a shrug from Naruto. Meh. I beat him, showed him that he's not the only one who's suffered, and managed to perform the Tsuga no Jutsu, tracking Fang technique. All in all, it was a relief. I finally got that off my chest. So you told everyone? Kakashi asked, getting a nod from Naruto. Kakashi stared at Naruto for a moment, seeing that he was looking distracted. Are you alright? My mother and my sister is here. Kakashi's eye went wide, and he looked out towards the stands. Where? Right here. Naruto and Kakashi both turned around to find Kushina and Taki walking into the competitor's box. Hey Kushina ni. Kakashi said, looking shocked. You're back. Don't be so happy about it. Naruto said as he turned towards the arena, where Sasuke was desperately trying to get away from Kakashi's sand. They wouldn't be here if Sarutobi-sensei hadn't threatened to send hunter nins after them if they left. Kakashi looked at Naruto. So, there. Yup. They hate my guts. Well, why shouldn't I? Kushina asked, glaring at Naruto. You took my husband and my son from me. In case you hadn't noticed, your son is standing right here. Naruto said, narrowing his eye. I don't get how people can mistake me for a giant demonic fox who'd stop at nothing to destroy this village. Your lies won't work on us, Kyuubi. Kushina said with a growl. Kakashi was about to retort when Naruto stopped him and glared at Kushina. Do I look like a girl? He asked, causing Kushina, Taki and Kakashi to stare at him, blinking. What? Do I look like a girl? Naruto repeated, slower this time, as if talking to a child. What does that have to do with anything? Naruto laughed. Everything, mother, everything. Because, you see, Kyuubi is a girl named Megami and she is kinder than anyone in this village. The only reason she attacked was because a Sharingan-wielding maniac forced her to. Naruto, you never told me about this. Kakashi said, getting a shrug from Naruto, who turned back to the arena again. You never asked. I've only told 2 people about that, and one of them is Sarutobi-sensei. Taki was the first of the 2 females to speak. Then your powers of observation are stunning. Naruto said with a dry laugh. I wished you'd realize that before I got my limbs cut off. Kushina was about to speak, but found that Kakashi was suddenly in front of her. Kushina ni, I don't think he'd like to talk to you 2 anymore. He said as he lightly pushed her towards the stairs. Besides, this box is for competitors and their senseis only. Sasuke is a fool. Naruto spoke as Kakashi was leading Kushina and Taki away, stopping all 3 of them. No matter what training you gave him, he can't beat Gaara. What makes you say that? Kakashi asked, getting a masked smirk from Naruto, who turned to him. Gaara is like me. He's going to kill Sasuke. So I stopped the fight? Kakashi asked, and Naruto shrugged. I don't know. If you want to. Suddenly, a block of sand slammed Sasuke into the wall, unconscious. Crap. Kakashi exclaimed as Gaara sent his sand to kill the Uchiha and used a quick shunshin to help him. Gaara seemed extremely upset that Kakashi stopped him from killing the Uchiha, but just settled for glaring at him before heading up to the competitor's box. Winner, Sabaku no Gaara. The proctor announced before looking up at the competitor's box. Rock Lee and Aburame Shino. Come down. Proctor, I forfeit. Shino announced while Lee looked devastated. Why? My bugs drain chakra and you don't use it. My weapon is useless against you. Shino said calmly and the proctor sighed. Winner, Rock Lee. Nara Shikamaru and Sabaku no Tamari. Come down. Maybe I should forfeit as well, Shikamaru muttered, getting a grin from Naruto. Oh no, you don't. Naruto exclaimed as he pushed Shikamaru over the railing. Oh oi. Was all Shikamaru could say before slamming painfully into the ground while Tamari calmly floated down into the arena on her fan. Shikamaru just laid on the ground, not really wanting to get up when Naruto said something. Oi, Shika. If you fight these matches, I'll let you stay at home for 5D ranked missions. That was all the motivation Shikamaru needed and he got up, standing ready in front of Tamari. The match was boring. Shikamaru did nothing. He just dodged Tamari's attacks and every once in a while tried to catch her with his shadow. Then, once he actually managed to catch her, he gave up. Naruto buried his face in his palm, while Kakashi, who was back at Naruto's side, sighed. By the way, Naruto, Kakashi said as he looked up from his Icha. Gaara's ultimate defense will be tricky, have you perfected your new jutsu? No, but I've found a way around the problem for this match. Oh? Tell me. Naruto chuckled and looked up at his sensei. That would ruin the surprise, sensei. He said as he jumped into the arena when his name was called. Gaara stared hard into Naruto's eye as they faced each other in the arena. I will enjoy killing you, Uzumaki Naruto. I think I'm gonna have to take this seriously. Naruto said as he reached towards his headband, pulling it up and activating his eye. Up in the stands, Taki turned to her mother. Do you think he spoke the truth? I don't know. I doubt it. Kushina said, though her mind was telling her that she was an idiot. In the cage booth, Jiraiya poofed in next to Sarutobi's chair, grinning. How's it going, sensei? He asked, and Sarutobi chuckled. Well, you missed Naruto-kun's first match, but you're just in time for his second. Oh, he's up against that Gaara kid, huh? Jiraiya asked, smirking as he leaned against the backrest of Sarutobi's chair. This match will be interesting. Meanwhile, the Kazekage was looking at the two from the corner of his eyes. This is bad, but as long as the Sound 4 gets the barrier up in time, I'll be alright. He thought before turning his attention back to the arena. First match of the second round, Uzumaki Naruto vs Sabaku no Gaara, begin. The proctor exclaimed before getting as far away as possible. Naruto smiled at Gaara. So, which one do you have? He asked, getting a somewhat puzzled look from Gaara. Ichibi, Nibi. Maybe even the Sanbi. The one-tailed sand spirit, Shukaku, is sealed within me. Gaara said, getting a nod from Naruto. Ah, does he speak to you? He asked, and Gaara nodded. Mine speaks to me, too. She's not what I'd expect from the strongest of all demons. She's kind. However, according from what she's told me, the Shukaku is a little loony, isn't he? Gaara grunted as a sudden pain hit his head. Your bloody wants it. You'll have to get in line. Naruto said, smirking. Suddenly, a wave of sand was sent in his direction and he immediately dodged. Naruto looked up at the stands at Kakashi, who was talking to Guy. Oi. Sensei. Can I take them off? Kakashi looked at Naruto and gave him a thumbs up. Naruto grinned and put his hands in a ram seal. However, before he could do anything, he had to dodge another wave of sand. So, while running to get away from the sand, he put his hands in the seal again. Hi. The metal rings around his wrists and ankles fell off with a click and he felt a lot lighter. Grinning widely, he took off, faster than the Genin and Chunin could follow. In the stands, Guy was wide-eyed. At speed. How did he achieve that? Oh, for the last 2 weeks, he's been wearing weights, like Lee Kun. However, due to his insane healing, he's been able to up the weights by 30 pounds every day. And he started out at 300. Why would he need to attain such speed? Guy asked before blinking. Unless you didn't. Hinda. Kakashi said with a shrug while Naruto ran in circles around Gaara, constantly delivering blows to the automatic defense. Naruto went wide-eyed when he was suddenly stopped. He looked down to see that his left hand had been caught in Gaara's sand and was slowly creeping upwards. Shit. he exclaimed and brought out a kunai, running it a lap around his arm by the elbow, before forcefully ripping it out, resulting in the flesh and skin staying in the sand, while his bionic arm slipped out for all to see. Putting some distance between him and the psychotic redeed, Naruto sighed, holding up his arm and flexing it. "Close call, that one," he said, before looking up at Gaara. "However, I don't make the same mistake twice, so, from here on, you will lose." With that, Naruto blurred away, appearing underneath Gaara immediately and kicking him in the chin, sending him flying. However, he didn't let the redeed fly far, grabbing his collar and pulling him back, burying his knee in his gut. Then, he roundhouse kicked Gaara in the face, sending him skidding across the arena floor. Pushing himself to his feet, Gaara looked, showing that his face was cracked. "So you have another defense?" Naruto asked, amazed. "That's cool. I only get healing from Megami-chan," he said, before thinking something. "Why don't I have an ultimate defense?" "I'm not the defensive type of demon, Naruto-kun," Megami said, obviously grinning. "As you know, I'm the destructive type." "Right," Naruto said, nodding to himself as he looked at Gaara, who'd placed his hands in the ram seal, causing a dome of sand to form around him. "Oh no, you don't." Naruto rushed forward and threw a punch at Gaara. However, he wasn't fast enough and the dome closed, shooting sand spikes out of it, which would have pierced Naruto had he not maneuvered his body at the last second, only getting scratched. "Snap!" Naruto exclaimed and jumped away, just in time to avoid the spikes, which extended themselves at amazing speed, trying to skewer him. The sand eye materialized above the dome and Naruto jumped back even more, landing on the arena wall. "I guess I have no choice. I'll have to use that jutsu," he muttered as he formed three hand seals: dragon, tiger, monkey. Kakashi went wide-eyed next to Guy, whose eyes turned dinner plate sized. "Kakashi. The seals are different, but I know that stance and I know that gathering of chakra to his hand. You didn't teach him that, did you?" "Teach him what?" Choji, who was sitting next to Ino and Sakura, next to where Kakashi and Guy stood, asked, looking puzzled. "My eternal rival's one and only original technique, an assassination jutsu that is said to be able to cut through a lightning bolt, the Rikiri." "Close, Guy," Kakashi said, studying Naruto, who held out his hand as fire started gathering in his hand. "However, Naruto isn't aligned with lightning, like I am. Therefore, it's impossible for him to learn it. That's why he created his own version of it. This technique is called Ranran Dejeki, Flaming Strike," Naruto announced as the fire chakra around his hand formed itself to look like an arrowhead. However, Naruto Kakashi continued, more to himself than to Guy. "The flame isn't hot enough yet." Naruto, as if sensing what his sensei said, looked up and smirked as he formed a half-ram seal, before placing his hand against his shoulder. Suddenly, around the flames in his hand, the wind picked up. The fire turned so hot, it became blue in color. "Oh, nice, Naruto," Kakashi said, surprised that his student came up with a solution. "What did he do?" Guy asked, leaning forward. "As you know, wind ups the power of fire attacks. Naruto is aligned with fire and wind. He created the Dejeki and fueled the flames with his wind chakra, increasing the temperature." Naruto smirked at Gaara's sand dome. "This is the end," he exclaimed and took off at impressive speed. He charged at the dome, using his X-ray function to see where Gaara was in it and stabbed his hand into it, piercing Gaara's shoulder. The entire arena was quiet. Naruto heard a whisper coming from inside the dome. "What is this warm stuff? Mother, what did?" Then it got quiet until. "The what?" "Blood. My blood." "Stop crying, you big baby," Naruto exclaimed as he tried to pull his hand out, only to find that it was stuck. "Stop crying and give me my hand back." No answer, so he growled. "Fine then." He roared and pumped more fire chakra into the jutsu, getting another cry of pain from Gaara as he pulled his hand out. Naruto was about to sigh in relief when a clawed hand made out of sand shot out of the dome, forcing him to dodge. In his mind, Megami went wide-eyed. "This is Shukaku, huh?" Naruto asked as the hand drew itself back into the dome. The dome collapsed and Gaara stood there, clutching his bleeding and burned left shoulder, a crazed look in his eyes, which were filled with disbelief. Naruto was about to attack when his bionic eye picked up on something. "A jutsu?" he asked and looked up to the stands to see that the civilians and the shinobi who lacked the proper skills had fallen asleep. "Jinjutsu." He looked up towards the cage booth only to see it erupt into smoke. He saw how the Kazuki had jumped out of the smoke, holding Sarutobi hostage. Jiraiya and 4 Anbu pursued, only for 4 Oto nins to land on the roof they were on, about to perform some kind of jutsu. "Shit." Naruto exclaimed as he brought out his cannon, filling a quarter of it with fire chakra and firing at the 6-armed Oto ninja closest to him. "Ninpu." "Shishi engine." The four Oto ninjas announced in unison, and a barrier started taking form around the Kazuki-Jin Hokage, only for it to crumble when a ball of fire slammed into the side of the six-armed ninja, knocking him off balance. Jiraiya grinned as he looked down at the arena. "Nice, Naruto." Naruto gave him a thumbs up. While he was looking away, Gaara's siblings and his sensei had landed in front of him. The proctor landed next to Naruto, glaring at the Suna ninjas. "Fool." The Suna sensei told Gaara, who was on the ground, clutching his head. "Trying to transform into your complete form before the signal. He's experiencing the side effects. It's impossible to proceed now," Temari said, crouching down next to the reed. "Then what are we supposed to do?" Kankuro asked, looking slightly panicked. "Do it without Gaara. Abort the mission," the sensei said, getting shocked looks from his students. "Take Gaara and retreat." "What about you?" Temari asked, and her sensei narrowed his visible eye. "I'll join the battle." "Go." "Why yeah." The Suna ninjas jumped away, while Naruto and the proctor stared at the Suna Jounin. "Is the leader of this party Orochimaru?" the proctor asked, getting a grin from the Jounin. "Who knows? Let's just join the fun." "Hey Naruto," the proctor said, getting Naruto's attention. "The exam is over." "I know," Naruto said as he covered his eye with his headband, not wanting to suffer from chakra exhaustion during an invasion. "You go pursue Gaara and the others. You're already at Chunin level, if not Jounin. If you're a Konoha shinobi, make yourself useful. I was actually planning on helping you here," Naruto said as he narrowed his eyes at the Jounin. "This guy reeks of hate sans blood." "Thanks for caring, kid, but I'm not a Jounin for nothing," Genma said, smirking. "Go." Naruto grunted and jumped off into the stands, where he found Shikamaru wide awake. "Shikamaru, we're going after the Sand Trio, so don't be lazy and come on." "I know," Shikamaru said as they took off. As they ran, Naruto stopped and swiped some of the leftover blood from his bionic arms onto his palm and performed a couple of hand seals before slamming his palm into the ground. "Fuchius no Jutsu." In a poof of smoke, Pakin appeared, waving his paw. "Yo, Naruto. What's up? You smell a vile chakra, right?" Naruto asked, and Pakin sniffed around. "Yeah. It's heading north, out of the village. Lead us, okay?" "You got it, Naruto," Pakin said, before taking off. As they jumped through the village, soon entering the forest outside it, Pakin started sniffing the air before looking back. "Hey, you guys, pick up the pace." From behind, 2 squads with 8, no one more, 9 men are chasing us. "Already?" Shikamaru asked in disbelief. "You've gotta be kidding. Don't look as if they've got a fix on our true position yet, but they're closing in on us fast while on the lookout against any surprise attacks." "Shit. They're probably all beyond Chunin level," Shikamaru muttered. "If they catch up with us, there's a good chance that we'll be annihilated." "So, do we ambush them?" Naruto asked, and Shikamaru answered. "We'd certainly have a great advantage if we were to ambush them. Even if they're more than us, as long as we can surprise them." "It's no use," Pakin said, sighing. "Those guys are the subordinates of Orochimaru, a former Konoha. They know our tactics." "Damn," Shikamaru muttered, before turning to Naruto. "In that case, I'll stay behind." "Why?" Naruto asked, narrowing his eye. "Don't do anything stupid, Shikamaru." "I won't. I'll act as a decoy and lead them away from you while you go after Gaara." "That is stupid. You'll be killed." "Nah, it's cool. I'll circle around and lead them back to the village where I can get some backup." "You're not a good liar, Shikamaru," Naruto said, getting a smile from Shikamaru. "I know, but it felt better to say that. Now, go," he ordered as he landed on a branch. "Damn it." Naruto cursed as he sped up, intent on finding Gaara as quickly as possible and then come back to help Shikamaru. "Pakin, they're heading straight, right?" "Yeah, why?" "Go back to Shikamaru. If things start getting bad, howl or bark or something, so I'll know." "I got it," Pakin said with a nod as he turned back. Naruto sped up even more but almost stumbled when he heard a noise to his right. "Oh, you're..." "But the Sand Trio. That redeed is after us," Kankuro muttered as he stopped, handing over Gaara to Temari. "Take Gaara and go. I'll stall him," he said and walked forward a little. The bushes rustled and out came. "You. What are you doing with Konoha?" Kankuro asked and Dosu smirked, pointing at his new headband. "It's much more comfortable being a Konoha ninja. Here, you don't get killed if you fail a mission or made into an experiment." "That's not how," Temari started but was stopped by a sudden pain in her side. She looked down to find Naruto with his arm tearing through her ribsage. Gaara slumped, his eyes closed. "Two birds with one stone, I guess you can call that," Naruto said calmly. Temari also slumped, everything turning dark. Kankuro turned back, seeing both his brother and sister dying at the hands of Naruto's Ranran Dengeki. "Temari." "Gar." He stopped when he found Dosu's sound amplifier by his ear. "It's over," Dosu said calmly and flicked the amplifier. Tenkuro let out a cry of pain, clutching his head as he fell to the ground. Dasu stared down at his writhing form and then back up at Naruto. "POW?" he asked, and Naruto shrugged, pulling his hand out of the two Suna siblings. "If you feel like carrying him. I gotta go back and help Shikamaru. I'll see you back at the village." Dosu nodded while Naruto took off. Once Naruto was gone, Dosu looked down at Kankuro, taking out a kunai. "Too bad for you, I'm lazy. But Shikamaru." Shikamaru sighed. He stared up at the clouds, preparing for an attack from the 9 Odo ninjas. "I was going to be a so-so ninja and earn an okay salary, marry a regular girl, who'd be neither a beauty or a hag, have 2 kids, first a girl, and after that, a boy, then I'd retire when my oldest girl got married and my son became independent. After that, I'd play shogi and go all day long, living a relaxed and easy retired life. Then, I'd go of old age before my wife. I wanted that kind of life," he thought, sighing again. "And then, I tried to do my best, which is so unlike me. I wanted to end normally, and then I really did such a troublesome thing here." His cage mane died down and he panted, looking over the ninjas. "It's like you said, looks like I've reached my limits. Hey, how about you come out now?" one of the Odo ninjas said, calling out to the 9th ninja, who was hiding in the trees. "And while you're at it, why don't you lop his head off for him?" Shikamaru's eyes widened as he felt someone land behind him. He turned around and saw the 9th ninja raising a kunai, preparing to stab Shikamaru in the head. Then, a flame-covered hand burst out of his chest, splattering blood over Shikamaru. The Odo ninja died before he even had the time to react. The hand was pulled out and the ninja fell to show Naruto standing behind him, panting. "Geez, 4 of those, having the eye activated, creating over 40 kage bunshin, firing my cannon, summoning Pakin, even I'm starting to run out of chakra." "Naruto. It's just another kid," one of the Odo ninjas said, narrowing his eyes. "Get him." "Try it," Naruto exclaimed as he got in front of Shikamaru, extending his claws. He charged at the first ninja, burying his claws into his chest. Then, he pulled them out, spinning around and extending his shin blades, slamming them into the face of another ninja. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw another ninja coming at Shikamaru, so, he raised his cannon, firing a wind bullet at him. The ninja heard a whistling sound and looked towards Naruto just in time to see a ball of wind chakra slam into his face, slicing it to ribbons. Naruto's little moment of concern for his teammates cost him, as another ninja came at him from behind, swinging a ninjato. Naruto dodged out of the way from a downward slash, but not in time. The blade dug into his left shoulder and sliced his arm off. Letting out a cry of pain, Naruto turned and glared at the ninja, grabbing his collar. "Bastard!" he exclaimed and jumped up, slamming his knee up into the ninja's chest as he extending his knee blade, killing him. He turned to the last 4 ninjas, panting heavily. 5 down 4 left, he muttered, slowly walking towards them, only to fall to his knees, finally having used up too much chakra. "Damn it, this is bad." The ninjas grinned behind their masks and were about to advance on the 2 genin when a twin cry of "Gatsuuga" was heard. Naruto blinked and saw the 4 remaining ninjas get torn to pieces by 4 spinning projectiles. They stopped spinning and Naruto found himself staring at Kiba, Akamaru, Tsum and Kuramaru. He smiled weakly. "You're late, Kiba," he muttered before collapsing into unconsciousness. Some time later. Naruto woke up, finding himself in a bed in the hospital, his usual room. He looked to his left and found that his whole arm was attached. "What the hell?" he asked as he tried to move the arm, only for nothing to happen. "Oh, right, chakra exhaustion." The door opened and Unohana, his usual doctor, came inside. Her eyes widened when she saw that Naruto was awake. "Oh, Naruto-kun. You're up," she said, breaking out into a smile. "We were sure you'd be asleep longer." "Ah, Retsu-chan," Naruto said, sitting up painfully. "Could you explain why my arm is, well, here?" "Oh, that. Well, it seems that our dear Chio-sama had prepared for such an occasion and had not only prepared an upper arm for you, but also a whole right arm. We attached the upper arm to your last prosthetic one and attacked it to your shoulder. Your new right arm, should you ever need it, is in your apartment." "It's like she wants me to lose every single one of my limbs," Naruto muttered, getting a nod from Retsu. "Indeed. She had also made 2 full legs for you." Naruto grunted, laying back down. "How did the invasion go?" "We fought back and we won. If it wasn't for you, Hokage-sama would be dead," Retsu said, making Naruto raise an eyebrow. "What makes you say that?" "Well, apparently, Jiraiya-sama and Hokage-sama were both hard-pressed against Orochimaru, meaning, if you hadn't shot one of the ninjas who were supposed to create a barrier, Hokage-sama would have been alone and most likely died." "And how are my teammates?" "I'm afraid I can't tell you that. I haven't met them yet," Retsu said, her smile dropping. I'm sorry. It's okay. I'm sure they're fine. Naruto said, and not a second later, his door was slammed open and Shikamaru, Kiba and Kakashi walked into the room. Yo, Naruto. I see you're awake. Kiba exclaimed, grinning. How are you feeling? You used up a lot of chakra back there. I'm fine. I just want to get out of here as soon as possible and go to Ichiraku. Naruto said, his stomach growling. I'm sorry, Retsu-chan, but the food here is horrible. If it wasn't for the fact that other patients also complain, I'd think you were trying to poison me. Funny, that's what all the other patients say. Retsu said, laughing lightly. Well, as soon as you're able to walk properly, you're free to leave. Naruto shot out of bed, only to fall flat on his face. Kakashi chuckled as he walked over to a nearby dresser, finding Naruto's newly washed clothes neatly folded on it, with his boots on the floor. Alright, Naruto, put these on, and we'll come back with a pair of crutches for you. He said as he tossed the clothes to Naruto, who smiled. Thanks, sensei. Well, come on, guys. Kakashi said, pushing his other two students towards the door. Let's go find him a pair of crutches. Retsu smiled at Naruto. I'll leave you alone, Naruto-kun. She said as she headed towards the door as well. -1 hour later, Ichiraku. Naruto, Kakashi, Shikamaru and Kiba were sitting in the ramen stand, happily slurping down their ramen. Well, Kakashi was just sitting by, doing nothing. You all did great during the invasion. He said, smiling at them all. I'm proud of you all. You are really worthy of calling yourselves Konoha ninjas. But if Mom and I hadn't showed up, you two would be dead, so I think a little gratitude is in order. Kiba said, looking mighty pleased with himself. You're right. Thanks, Kiba. Naruto said, patting Kiba on the back. Yeah, and thanks to you, Naruto. Shikamaru said, smiling at Naruto. If it wasn't for you, I would have been dead even before Kiba came. By the way, Kiba, how did you know where we were and that we needed help? Naruto asked Kiba, who grinned. Akin came and told me that you two had split up and that Shikamaru was in trouble. See? I told you the dog pack was a good summons. Kakashi said, smiling at his team. Well, Hokage-sama told me that he wanted to see you, Naruto, and you, Shikamaru. I'm sure it's about Chunin promotions. Man, I feel left out, Kiba muttered, sulking. Naruto grinned and patted him on the back. Come on, Keebs. You can always try again. I guess you're right about that. Kiba said, nodding to himself. No use crying over spilled milk, huh? Yeah. Naruto said and tried to move his left arm, only to find it stuck. He desperately tried to move it, but it didn't move an inch. Damn chakra exhaustion, he muttered, getting chuckles from his teammates and sensei. By the way, does anyone know what happened to my mom and Taki? They managed to get to the emergency shelter in one piece. Kakashi said, raising an eyebrow. Why do you want to know? I thought you wanted nothing to do with them. I don't want anything to do with them, but they're still family, sensei. As much as I hate to admit it, I don't want anything to happen to my family, meaning you guys as well. Family? Kiba asked, going wide-eyed. You consider us your family? Of course I do. We've been doing pretty much everything together for a little less than a year. Naruto said, smiling. You two are like brothers to me. And me? Kakashi asked, giving Naruto an eye smile. What am I to you? Naruto grinned. You're the perverted uncle no one wants to talk about. Kakashi sweat dropped but started laughing with his genin. No, you're like an uncle to me, sensei. Naruto said once he'd calmed down. I can't say that you're like a father to me, since I don't know what it's like to have one, but I guess you're the closest thing I have to it. Kakashi stared in shock at his student for a while, before smiling. Later, Hokage's office. Naruto, Shikamaru and Kakashi stood in front of Sarutobi's desk. Nara Shikamaru-kun. Sarutobi said as he got out of his chair, picking up one of the Chunin vests on the desk and handing it to Shikamaru. For showing extreme intelligence and the proper qualities of a Chunin commander, the ability to know when to give up and abandon the mission in favor of saving your comrades, I am honored to promote you from Genin to Chunin. Shikamaru sighed as he took the vest. This is gonna mean more responsibilities for me, isn't it? Sarutobi just chuckled as he grabbed the other vest, handing it to Naruto. Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto-kun. Yesterday, you not only showed the necessary qualities of a Chunin, you saved my life, the lives of your comrades and this village, with the knowledge that you may die. For that, I am proud to give you the title of Chunin. Naruto took the vest and bowed his head. I am honored, Hokage-sama. Also, for saving my life, I am forever in your debt. Sarutobi said and reached into his robes, taking out what looked like a plate for a headband, made out of solid gold, with the Konoha symbol on it. Please, accept this, and wear it proudly. Only one of these exists in each village, to show that someone has performed a great service for their cage. Naruto took the plate with wide eyes. Thank you, Hokage-sama. No, Naruto-kun. Sarutobi said, smiling. Thank you. Naruto put on the vest and grinned. I need some new clothes. Maybe a long-sleeved shirt with a mask. That sounds good. Done. What if Naruto is neglected by the family metal arm harem? End here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.